Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However you happen to be watching or listening to this, I want to welcome you to the latest episode of the Gaming Circle podcast. The podcast with this week, we are excited because not only have the gaming gods and the news gods provided, but we also have an awesome guest to discuss it with. Now, of course, for those watching, you may see that my slanderous co-host is not live with us just yet, but he'll join. You know, these divas, they like to show up whenever they feel like it. You know what I'm saying? So expect him to make his appearance. But you know what? Let us get into the actual honorable guest this week, our returning champion, the man who you know is walking these Twitter streets, handing out righteous smoke left and right, and at the same time, gracing the podcasting streets and delivering his assistance whenever he can, right? You know him, you love him, and if you're a watcher of this show, you've seen his work on many occasions because he is the creator of our intro and our outro. Thank you, good sir, for making your appearance once more. It's the Wandering Dutch, the man whose beard has exceeded mine to the point where I just had to shave mine, man. I had to shave mine. I had to get rid of it. Okay, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Nice and cool here for a change now.
You're keeping it cool. Yeah. I heard you guys were smoking at some point. It was hell on earth in the UK.
It was 38 degrees, which is over 100, which for the north of England is hell on earth.
Hot. It's impossibly hot. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So no, we've got over that.
People who don't know what air conditioners even look like, they had to deal with that much heat. Like, forget about it.
We didn't even have wind to complement it. And the only wind we got was on the hottest day, and it was like a blow dryer. So
that feels like sometimes. Now I live in the South, but we have air conditioners, so you know there's no excuse. It is what it is. We're good, you know. But I could not. It's almost like one day waking up in Florida has like a huge blizzard, like a snow blizzard. They would not know what to do with themselves. I've lived all over the place, so I'd be fine. But it'd be awesome to just watch them lose their mind.
I've been in Florida for some of the. I've been in for 2 hurricanes actually. Irma and the one that came after Irma. I've forgotten which one it was.
Oh boy, you're just always on time around here, huh?
Yeah, every time I arrive, there's a national hurricane.
That's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Yeah. So far since I've been living here, we've been good. We've been good as far as hurricanes and whatnot are concerned. But damn, okay. But no, all right. So welcome to the show, folks. I see folks already pulling up in here. Tay is in here. J Mo Money's in here. Paulie Baba, welcome, sir. Mr. Joanna Dark, we appreciate you guys for pulling up. Always great to see your faces as soon as we jump into the show. This is going to be an awesome show. We're actually, it's going to be fun because this week we actually have some games to talk about. You know, it's fun to go through what's going on in the community, and we will definitely get into that. I know y'all are here for some smoke. We'll give you the righteous smoke. It's cool. But I'm excited to actually talk about some games we've been playing because there's actually some hidden gems here and there, some games that we've been wanting to play for a while. Y'all see for my video viewers, you guys are seeing some Stray gameplay footage that I have on the screen right now. I'll get into a little bit of that. Game is a bit special. We'll get into that. But before we get started, let's start with let's start at the top, the games we've been playing. Now, Mr. Dutch, because I know you as I know you, I won't even ask if you've been playing it, and I will ask you how much fun are you having with Hot Wheels, the DLC for Forza Horizon 5, because you're definitely playing that. I know for sure you were playing that. So.
Oh yeah, we played it the day it came out. Had obviously since then it's not actually been out as that long. But played it the day we've been out. Since then, of course, had podcasts and things to do, so I haven't had enough time to play games. But loved it. Played it with Steel.
Awesome.
And quite a few others. There was about 6 of us, I think, playing it. Running through the co-op career because, of course, you can do everything in co-op on that game. So that was fun. It's always good. It's always a good laugh. I wasn't the most enthusiastic about them returning back to Hot Wheels. I loved Hot Wheels.
That's the question I wanted to ask you. Yes, since they did it before, how's your feel? Because you get into it. Like, there are lots of people who love Forza. I love the Forza series myself.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, when you check my played history, you'll see I put about 20 hours into every Forza. And it's not that I even time it, but if you check Forza 3, 4, and 5, I'm always about the same time when I drop off, about 20, 25 hours in. But you are a completionist, sir. You go to every race, everything, to the point where we see some really cool music video like montages from you, sir. So I know you'll put this game through its paces. being that they released this before, right? They did this before. They're doing it in a different way. How do you feel about the comparison? You know, should they have gone elsewhere? You know, what do you think about them taking another bite at the Hot Wheels apple, as it were?
I mean, in this occasion, to be fair, it is 4 times bigger than the previous one. They have 4 different biomes. They have an underworld. The entire world is built above Mexico. It's like a floating island, which is a nice concept to go down, as opposed to it's an island that you fly to, and then here's Forza Hot Wheels Island or whatever it's called. This one's a floating island in the sky. So it's a nice concept.
I love when you're jumping down, you're flying, you're like basically flying down, and you're basically about to touch a volcano. It's like erupting at the same time. It's absolutely epic vistas. And
it feels like cool. It essentially feels like what they probably wanted to do in 3 but couldn't at the time. They were probably, I would imagine, they might have been hindered by something in order to undertake that. But now having magnetic tracks and having those booster ramps where they've got the turbines that speed you up to ridiculous speeds and everything that goes along with it, it's a great added concept there, and of course they've added additional sections for those who like to create tracks. So you can they've got a section on the map which is unfinished intentionally so that you can create your own track on the back of it. So it is an awesome concept, but I still stand by the fact that I wish they'd went somewhere else and did something new. I do love Hot Wheels, but I still want Horizon to try something different.
Now, if they throw Legos at you next, would you be disappointed then?
Yes.
I will too. Yeah. No, I hear you.
Because it's the same thing. Like when they mentioned originally, when they mentioned micro machines, I thought that would have been a much better concept because they haven't attempted to do a Horizon in a micro world.
So shrinking everything down instead of blowing everything up, what they've done now, where it's real cars in that blown up world, actually shrink it down. Maybe one of those weird situations where you zoom in and what happens? You're in the grounded world and you're racing cars.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be amazing. Exactly. That would be amazing. Yeah.
And that type of stuff, yes. That would have been ingenious, but I know they've got, the thing is the Horizon team literally have the internal studio and all their staff, and they've got essentially just a big whiteboard of what are we doing next, and then people essentially slot themselves into certain sections. So I know, and you would believe it or not, the vast majority of the internal Horizon team actually want Japan.
Oh wow, awesome.
But it doesn't. But just because they want it, it doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the next one that they do. So even though the internal team are saying it, they just look at the trends and look at how things work, and they look what they are including in the game and how that kind of emphasizes it. So on this occasion, the reason I went for Mexico over anything else, over Japan and anything else, was because of the diverse biomes. Because you have the desert, because you have the rainforest, because you have a volcano, because it was such a diversity of biomes, is why they went Mexico. If, for instance, they're saying, right, what we want is awesome street racing and nightlife and neon lights and all of this stuff, and drifting and mountains, then
they'll go to Japan. And shout out to Fun Speculation, Mav. He and I were talking about that. We're waiting for that. That's what we want at this point. We want that double edition.
It is definitely on the cards. It's definitely on the cards, but they're waiting for when it essentially the idea matches the location.
Okay.
So it's good to hear. It's just a case of,
for sure.
I think on this occasion, the Hot Wheels things, as grandiose and awesome as it is, was playing.
It's becoming played out. It's becoming played out. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And you're absolutely right that it does seem like this was the idea coming to full fruition. And the last time they did it was kind of a spark, but they can only do so much. So hopefully we can take this as this is them, finally striking it the way they wanted to strike it. So then now they can move forward. It does bring up the excitement of, hey, what are they going to do next? I will say, when I got a few of those, when you're racing, you're going through the loops, and all of a sudden they have those huge dryers, I call them, at the top, and they're blowing you, and you're shooting. I'm like, all I need now is to be able to throw a banana behind me, or throw some shells, and
Yes.
be in there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We were very close.
You know what it is? That team would be able to pull off that game in
anything. Yes, 100%.
In milliseconds, and it would be so much fun because the driving mechanics, they've already got that down to a T. I just want to jump intersect for a second. Do you know on Stray in this section with the camera, if you meow or purr at the camera, it nods back at you?
Yes, because there's how far have you gone into the game? There's a reason for that. I know why that happens. You see, it's helping you certain, and it's good you say that, because let's transition to Stray a little bit.
Yeah,
this game is unusually good. Unusually good. And for those asking, yes, I see you deploy 619. We will get into As Dusk Falls as well, because yes, that is also very, very good. That's why I'm like, hey, we're gonna have a longer games we've been playing section than normal, because there are some unusual things out here where you're like, it is what it is, and then you jump into it and you're just like, wow, this is actually pretty darn good. Stray is a special experience. Now, this is coming from a non-cat guy. I don't hate cats, but I don't like lose my mind for cats as the internet does, right? Yeah. But I'm a big indie. I love indie games. I love games that are made by a very small team that are really trying to put their passion into it. You can tell this is made by a person with passion for wanting to speak, say something with a voice. And man, the animations, the world building, it is a very special experience. And I think, and I'm gonna set the stage a bit, but I think you should try and go into this with the least amount of story spoilers possible, because it's an actually pretty darn good story. Like they dole it out almost BioShock style, as you're going through. They're handing you audio logs and they're showing you certain things, and you come to find out why the world is the way it is. You're dealing with there's some cyberpunk-esque kind of style to it. I really want to keep it vague, because when I actually finally clued into what was going on here, it blew my mind. Like, wow, these guys are going for it. This is pretty cool. I haven't finished it. I'm only, I'd say, about 2.5, 3 hours in. I don't think this would take too long. Oh, I see the man Asa from Game On Daily's in here. Welcome, good sir. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for pulling up.
I'll be joining them wonderful chaps later on this evening.
Oh, awesome. Yes, a couple weeks ago we had the man. Actually, last week we had the man Gaz in here. Him and his sauciness. It was also fun having him in here. Hopefully, we'll get you on here soon, Asa. It'll be a fun show. I'm thinking of some more VR related thing. Mr. Everborn Saga always downplaying the VR, so it's good to have a good guest in here that knows what he's talking about. But anyway, so yeah, this game is really cool. I will say. I played this on PC. What you're seeing here, footage is PC footage. I was thinking, first, shout out to PlayStation for what they did there, which I thought was quite good. Whether you are a PlayStation Plus subscriber or not, you could potentially play this for free, because they give you like a 7-day trial of their service. So let's say you haven't tried the subscription service at all, and you see this is day one on that service, the premium tier. You can do a 7-day trial and play this game, no cash given, and just be done with it if you so choose. I thought that was a good move by them. Yeah, it's no free for $1 for a month type situation, but hey, they gave people a good entry point
to finish the game.
Exactly, it's enough time to finish the game if you so choose. Now the reason why I ultimately didn't opt for that was because I've already subscribed to the Essential, which used to be just PlayStation Plus until 2024. Yeah. So to upgrade, I have to upgrade for that year, which is I think like $80 something. I'm picking a game that I think will be worthy for me to then jump in. This was not that, so I ended up buying it on PC. And let me tell you, it's worth the purchase, 100%. I don't know if you haven't played this yet, have you?
Not as yet, no. Not as yet.
Okay. So don't worry about the footage. Nothing will spoil it for you. Like, the feeling of playing as a cat is really cool. Like, they really got the animations down. You can literally just scratch posts whenever you feel like it, stuff like that. You can meow and all this. Eventually, the story starts progressing, and it starts telling you why you are where you are, where the humans have gone, why there are what you see. There are little weird antagonists in the game, which you might see from the bit of the footage here. See that I'm scratching a little bit because I need to sharpen the claws right now. But yeah, it is a very
footprints all over the floor.
Blue footprints everywhere. Yeah, it's an awesomely interesting game that I didn't think I'd be, completely crazy about, but I was just like, yo, this is pleasantly surprisingly good. Like, it is very good. I'm enjoying the heck out of it. I can't wait to go back in it and continue. And to that point, I don't know if you've tried this yet, but let's talk a little bit as dusk falls. You said you downloaded it, but you haven't tried it yet, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And while we do that, I'll put up some of the seasoned gaming review and maybe get some screenshots going here. This is a game that, I'll be honest with you, I clowned Microsoft. Not clowned, but I was confused as to why they were pushing it so bad, right? And shout out to the chat. Anybody, if you've played it, let me know how you feel about it. Put your thoughts in there. I'll read some of them out. I initially was like, I'm not a big fan of the art style. I like the whole comic book aesthetic a little bit, but I'm not a huge fan of the art style. I wish it's almost kind of Telltale Games in their pursuits, right? It's not necessarily great, not better than their art style, but the actual game mechanics, the moment to moment is very much in the Telltale vein. And I was like, okay, I get these games. I get what they're for, right? But why are you guys trying to push this first party style? Like, it's so powerful, so good. It just kind of dissuaded me from wanting to be part of it, right? But one thing led to another. I was like, okay, let me give it a try.
I didn't know. Reading there, I did not know though that this game was by the creator of Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls.
Heavy Rain, yes. It's from the team.
Heavy Rain was such a great game.
Quantic Dream, yep. It's not the main people that were there, but an offshoot. A few folks there, art designers and a few other folks left the team to pursue this, and you see their DNA in it for sure. You definitely see their DNA in it, and. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Before we continue, I present to you my evil twin, the Lord himself, Mr. Everborn Saga. Good morning, sir. How are you, sir?
What's happening? I'm fresh off of playing As Dusk Falls Chapter 1.
Perfect timing, sir. Perfect timing. We were just about to get into it. How you been today?
I'm good. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, but
Understood. No, it's fine. But yeah, I was priming the pump, setting it up, saying I honestly did not understand why Microsoft was pushing this game as much as they were. I initially thought that they don't have much this year. Calendar year is a wash, as we've all been talking over and over again. So they got to push something.
Still is a wash, but
Yeah. They got to push something. But damn it, if this game does not win some narrative award at the end of the year, I will be stunned. It is just that good.
It is really that good, and I just like. I wonder. I just feel like it deserved better in the art department, man. In the it should have been a Telltale type of game, or.
Well, it kind of is. So what you're saying is the Telltale aesthetic is an upgrade in comparison to this.
Yeah, because people actually move. It's not like because this is like an interactive comic book, basically.
Basically, yes.
And it's great. It's great. I don't want to take anything away from them, but I'm just like, couldn't we have just because it would have been like a movie if they would have just used the 3D model characters.
Well, see, you know what? And as a guy who has played a lot of that Telltale stuff, I actually have the collection that has every Telltale game on Xbox, like all of it in one big collection.
It's great. Wolf Among Us, Batman, the Game of Thrones one was really good.
Amazing.
Obviously, the Walking Dead stuff was great.
Yep.
But
the pushback I'll give you a little bit on the art style there is I kind of feel like on the games that they did use that motion art style, it kind of dumbed it down even a bit more. I don't know.
Well, I'll do you one better. What if they did it like The Quarry?
Yeah, that is.
And I feel like the story is so good that it deserves it.
Yes,
and I think it would have hit. I think I'd have hit like big.
Well, okay. So to be fair to the developer here, right? Like as Dutch was saying, he didn't even know that Quantic Dream, they're from Quantic Dream, and they did Beyond Two Souls, and they did Heavy Rain, right? And additionally, let's think about it. If you pitch this idea in today's day and age, a Telltale style game, I don't think there are too many wallets opening for you to be a big budget about it, right? You have a dream. Clearly, you have an idea you want to get off the ground, and you think it'll sell. But I don't think the wallet holders will be with you on this idea until you show it to them. So I suspect that this is the best they could have done with what they had, and they were hoping that the narrative would be strong enough that all the other stuff that's not necessarily up to par would kind of still get
and the narrative is strong enough, right? It definitely,
that's the point.
It definitely is, but because the narrative is so strong, it just makes me sort of kind of want more.
Course.
Right,
100%, indeed.
And I'm actually, I would be into more things like this. These interactive stories where your choices actually matter. Who shot the guy, by the way, at the end of chapter 1?
No, there will be no spoilers, sir. Because yes, it's true. There are multiple paths, and many people will have different experiences than you. But there are a few key pieces of the story that are the same. So if you look at the tree, it branches really wide, and then the stem is still like, it ends up at its destination as it always does. But how you get there is always very different. So I think we should play a bit more before we get into spoiler talk, because it is and Dutch hasn't played it yet. Bro, you need to get on it. It's very good, like unusually good.
Okay,
I walked in expecting it to be trash.
Dutch, whoever the guy is, you should shoot him. That's all I'm saying. Whoever the guy is,
you get shot.
Go in. Yeah. You have no context. Just understand, whoever the guy is needs to get shot.
Right.
But yeah, it is riveting, like riveting. And I started it on Friday. I'm like, I'll just play a little bit of it. And at the end of it, they give you like the synopsis of who you are. And I'm looking at it, and they're like, you're a loyal person. You have a good heart. You have a moral compass. I'm like, yes, I do. Because man, that story that grips you.
That's why I liked Until Dawn and all of those kind of games, because at the end of each section, it tells you kind of your relationship status between everybody and what you've done to deter them, and it's like your respects went down because you did this to somebody else, or you sold them out or something like that. And it's interesting.
Like and there you go.
I think
this is what it gives you.
Does this game give you? And this is one thing I love to see as well, when it tells you kind of what choices the community made and kind of what happens at the end.
Yep. It gives you percentage, how many people chose this versus that. It shows you the branching tree, and then you realize.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Games, right? They started doing that in the latter half.
100%.
Of the games.
Yeah, and it shows you the replayability, because it shows you, okay, see, this is the tree you went on, but look at all the parts of the story you missed. And it's a huge. I'm like, this story is pretty vast.
It does make me want to play it again. Like I feel like I need to do chapter 1 a few times and see. And they tell you when it's a pivotal moment too, and that's super interesting to me.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question. Would you guys like to see this sort of narrative branching happen more in RPGs, like full-fledged RPGs?
I think it could work, but then it would mean that the RPG would need to be vastly bigger.
Yeah. Or maybe you have a 15-hour path, and then it turns to 45 if you go all the way.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's
true. Yeah.
The possibilities in these RPGs would then be almost endless, and it would turn what would potentially be a 60-hour campaign into a 500-hour campaign.
Yep, 100%.
I say make a strong 20-hour campaign that branches out to 140. If you
if you want to go all out, right?
Yeah, because RPGs are usually 100-hour campaigns, so why not have it?
True, yeah. So make that the potential, the height of it, but still be able to go off beaten paths depending on your choices. Yeah, that'd be a very interesting idea.
And
absolutely.
Another thing as well, though, in an RPG is much like in these games, a wrong decision means the death of a character. Now, in RPGs, if you make a wrong decision and you lose one of your lead characters for the remainder of the RPG, you're going to be pissed.
And how are they going to write that into the story to keep going in case that's a pivotal character?
And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's only Mass Effect that has even attempted that.
Yeah, they've approached doing that more. Yeah, true. I would say since that time, there have been more Mass Effect-like games that have borrowed that formula. I will believe it or not, Horizon Forbidden West does a bit of that Mass Effect thing. Yeah, Outer Worlds, exactly. You build your team.
And it tells you at the end what happened because of your decisions.
Because of your decisions.
Yeah,
very true, very true. So I think that games later on have learned that Mass Effect kind of lesson, but they really were the ones that paved the way for this kind of narrative. And this game is wow, like chef's kiss. It's so good, so good. I will say one thing, and it's not a spoiler. I always find it interesting when I initially go into a game and they're trying to sell you an aesthetic. They're trying to sell you the South, the American South, all of this stuff, right? And I'm always like, it's so interesting that people who don't live there, who aren't American, who tend to be removed from it, that tend to really be able to encapsulate that zeitgeist and that formula so well, and this is not the first time this has happened. Obviously, you check Sucker Punch and their Iki Island expansions and their Ghost of Tsushima, which is so good that even the Japanese people are like, wow, they've nailed it, right? These guys have nailed the American South. Like they have the stories. Trust me, I live in the South. They have nailed the stories. They have nailed the way it works. They have nailed the accents. They have nailed it. It's very well done. You disagree, Everborn?
I'm not saying I disagree or agree. I'm just saying it's just. I mean, you're in Florida. I'm in New York. I don't want to be the New Yorker saying, "Hey, the New Yorkers got your style of life better than you could."
I'm just saying
it's not my place to say.
I'm just saying it's surprising that's people who are so far removed will go, okay, we're going to tell a tale about the American South, and you can tell they've done enough of their research to the point where, yeah, there are some tropes here and there, but it fits like well. They have done it well. The way the family dynamics work, the way that how their life, what leads you to decisions you make. There are no enemies, but there are all enemies. It's just very, very well done. Very well done. I'm surprised that a French developer has hit the nail on the head so well in this regard. So, pro tip, people, it's on Game Pass. Even if it's not, if you get a chance, I'm sure it'll probably end up on PlayStation at some point. Play it.
Hey, one thing I do want to say, everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's a 75 gig download. It's this, it's that." I played it. It's all
audio.
But I played it in the cloud. You don't need anything more than the cloud for this. It's still pictures.
And that's another thing we should talk about. You can play this on your phone. You can play the 6-player multiplayer, which is just like, how is that even a thing? It's really interesting.
Here's something interesting, and I guess it was a mistake or whatever it is. If you play cloud on your Xbox, because that's how I played it, it shows that you have mobile control. So it shows the phone screen. And it tells you to flick up. You just press up with your joypad or whatever, but it has the mobile controls on screen, which is weird.
Interesting.
Just because
that may be something that accidentally kind of happened, because I've tried it on the mobile side and I've tried it on the Xbox, and it does switch different screens depending on where you are. I don't know how you worked it, but when I first started playing this game, I played it on PC, and even on PC. If you touch the keyboard, all of a sudden you see it say keyboard control system change, and all of a sudden your controller won't work anymore. They had to work out some kinks. I think there may be some compatibility. It's scanning your hardware, not seeing the right thing and giving you the wrong control scheme.
Try it on xCloud on the Xbox.
Okay, I definitely will. I definitely will.
Pop on the screen. I mean, your controller still works. It's just weird because on screen
it's just very funky. It gives you touchscreen UI while your controller is working. Yeah. There are some kinks to be worked out. I definitely know. You can definitely, this smacks of indie developer, right? They threw all their energy into that narrative. Everything else around it, the visuals, a little bit of the control scheme, it's all a little bit lackluster. But that tells you that this is such a strong game, because still, like, and I will skim through here and tell you that even Seasoned Gaming Review gave it an 8 out of 10. Replayability 8, time investment 7.5 hours. It is a dang good game. It really is. Even with all the stuff. I thought it was 2 books, 3 chapters each. Am I wrong? I think so. I think it's 2 books. Book 1 has 3 chapters. Book 2 has 3 chapters.
Okay.
So about 6 chapters in total.
Yeah, man. I really, because as much money as sort of Microsoft has seemed to put into marketing this thing, because every show this has been front and center. And I know everybody was like, why? And I think we see why now. They knew they had something special.
Something special in there.
But again, if you knew that and you spent all these marketing dollars, why not give it the bigger
Why
budget?
not spend money to give
better,
it?
You know what I'm saying?
I think, but remember, we've had this conversation about decisions made early on before. I think when they first saw this, when this was first like a twinkling in someone's eye, they went like, we'll give it a shot, and threw some dollars at it. By the time they realized it was special, those dollars wouldn't matter anymore because they were too far gone, right? Otherwise, you'd have to delay it and add more dollars.
It's not like they got a problem delaying things.
Yeah, well, sure, but then what else do they have right now? They got nothing.
I'm just saying.
So besides As Dusk Falls, sir, what any other games you've got your hands on over the week?
Shredder's Revenge.
Okay,
I'm on stage 6 right now of that.
Have you beaten it yourself completely yet?
No, I'm only up to stage 6. That's where I am.
Oh, so you haven't even done that yet. You should play more of that game.
Well,
bro.
I was playing it, but then this came out and everybody was talking about it, so I said I had to try it out.
So the FOMO got you. I hear you. Okay, but remember, until you beat it once, you have not unlocked Casey Jones, sir. You have not unlocked Casey Jones. You need to unlock. I was
never a huge Casey Jones fan anyway.
Actually, he plays rather well in the game. He has a different kind of gameplay, but we'll get into that a little later. Have you tried Hot Wheels, by the way? Have you tried I have
not tried Hot Wheels. Is it in Game Pass?
No, it is not. It is not. Were you one of those few who paid a little bit extra to pay that game early?
Absolutely not.
Okay, then you don't have you won't get it. You'll have to actually buy.
So that was the benefit. Okay.
Yes, sir. So since I paid the little, what was it, $20 some odd for the extra?
Because they got you
the DLC as well.
Yep. They got you with the FOMO before.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you're getting the benefits of that now.
Yeah,
I see.
It's not like that. Not that the Forbidden West stuff where you'll pay less now, but we're gonna make you pay for it later.
I'm still waiting for that to happen.
You're still waiting for that to happen for sure. Okay, so yeah, I will say this week has been a week where gaming has taken an unusual turn. Where none of them are really the AAA huge monsters that you're waiting for, but each of them are definitely worth playing. I think each of them are worth your time, and you should definitely give it a shot if you haven't already. Listen, I see a bunch of folks in here. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You have Game Pass, right? Because I don't know how much, what kind of a dollar value I would put on As Dusk Falls. But if you have Game Pass, even if it doesn't look like your type of game, because it didn't look like mine, and I'm still kind of disappointed with the art style they went through. I implore you, it is imperative.
Play it with
try
the
this game out.
It's not for kids. Yes. Play it with the missus. Play it with non-gamers.
It is
really good.
Like I said, I won't put a dollar value on it, but it's absolutely worth your time if you're already in the Game Pass ecosystem. And play it in the cloud. Don't even waste hard drive space for this.
Yep, for sure. Absolutely.
Perfect game for the cloud. Highly recommend it. I'm on chapter 2 right now.
Yep. And being that it's multiplayer, it means a bunch of folks can decide on the decisions that are being made at the time they're being made. So you can literally have somebody on the phone.
I wasn't having that because I would have got too upset. I already saw it because there were some tense moments where it's like, well, what do I do here? If somebody messed up my decision,
you can vote. Like you can have multiple people together, and you can vote on left or right depending on where you go. It looks like a great party.
Does it give you it give you enough time to make that decision, or is it like one of them things that takes
it's 15 to 20 seconds, but
it depends. You can actually, if you're in game mode, like if you're a party mode, you can set it so that all of them are long. Like each decision takes a while for you to make. But if you're playing by yourself, some of those decisions are like split second.
There's a heist that you do in there, and you can kind of get out clean if you don't knock everything over. And because they're only asking you to press a directional button or press the A button, I just had the controller down, and then it was like, oh crap, they're gonna knock over a vase, and then I didn't get to the controller in time, and then
you got caught. Oh yeah, that's right. I fraud alert on me. I did start and restart that one more time because I was not getting caught on that one. And the save system is really quick. So as soon as you make that decision, it's locked in. I was quick with the cancel button, quick with the close it. Let's start that again. because I was not getting caught. I was not getting caught.
Not just remember, don't put your controller down because they randomly.
It'll sneak up on you for sure.
But I did remember the code to the safe.
Yes, so yes, and there are lots. That's another thing. This game rewards like being very mindful. You're hearing stuff on TV. What are they saying on that TV? What is being said? Because this is not one of those, oh, we got you, we'll ask you about it later. No, we'll ask you about it 4 or 5 chapters later. If you don't remember, you're done. There's just no way forward. You have to do something else. You know, what's the code to that thing? Oh, yeah, they told it to you a few chapters ago. You should have been keep paying attention. Is that one of those things? It's very, very interesting. Very interesting narrative that they've spun there.
I would like to see more games like this. I think this is a good genre that has been explored but could be explored more.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. I hope that this
shooters, we could get a couple more of these.
I hope that this being as good as it is and folks giving it as much attention as they do, next time these guys say, hey, we want another budget to do something interesting, this time they get more money because, hey, they know what they're doing, right? So now when they spin that we're doing a Telltale type style game, hopefully the wallet holders are more excited about giving them, you know, much more of a budget so that maybe the visuals are as good as the narrative that's on display here.
I genuinely wonder if this is what they wanted to go with. I really wonder that. Like,
I mean, you know,
was this
I would think the money
style?
The money dictates the budget you have dictates the style you want to go for, right? You know, are you telling me that if they had all the money in the world, they'd probably still choose this? It looks like they wanted to make a movie, like an actual movie.
So, for example, you know, and to me, like, this is 2022's 12 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, experimental, odd. Yes, very much so.
And they talked about, like, you know, because they did the top-down camera, and every time they thought about it, you know, bringing the camera in, doing other angles, they couldn't find a strong enough reason. Right, to say that the whole game needs to change for this. So I wonder if maybe it's the same thing here with this, where it's like we could have done something else, but like we really want you to focus on the narrative, not the graphics and not all of that. Yeah. So again, maybe people asked for it and they said no. Like, you know, who knows?
Yeah, possibly. Now, where I agree with you that the budget shows, there are certain parts of this where, like police cars are driving by and you see the wheels spinning, and you're just like, y'all should have just shown me a picture. This little driving thing you're doing is just showing the lackluster budget you have on display. It just looks bad. It looks pretty bad.
It reminds you that everything else is not moving.
Yes, it does. It does. They should have just shown me a nice, cool art picture and kept it moving. You know,
the weird thing was the beads that were hanging from the door in the hotel. How they had those moving, but they had the still picture behind them. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Aesthetic choices. But okay. So I guess we will round the bottom of this what we've been playing section by telling you there are 3 very good experiences out there. That being Stray, and I don't know, Everborn, if you've even touched Stray, probably not, right?
I have not, because I don't have PlayStation Plus Extra.
You can play it on the Steam Deck, but that's neither here nor there. It's also a very good experience. It's actually a very good experience. You should play it. It really is. It's just as it surprised me just as much as Dusk Falls. And I wasn't my expectations weren't set to expect any kind of goodness, and it surprised the heck out of me. Like I played longer than I thought I would. I'm excited to go back to it. As Dusk Falls and Stray, and heck, even the recreation of the Hot Wheels DLC that has come to Forza Horizon 5. All 3 deserve your attention this week. They are very, very good. Very good. So let us move on to some stories that we've been, you know, some stories that have been keeping the internet ablaze, as it were. You know, we figure we discuss a little bit of that before we get into the main story here. In news that doesn't surprise too many people, Ubisoft is canceling a bunch of stuff. People were, and shout out to
before we get into this, how much of this stuff that they canceled do you care about?
Well, this is what I was saying. Shout out to Randolph 19 who went, who cared about a Splinter Cell VR game? I did. Now, don't get me wrong. I want the proper Splinter Cell game that came before, none of these ridiculous thoughts, that they keep trying to put them into different universes. I wanted a proper new reimagining of a Splinter Cell game, the one that we've all been wanting. But I, as a guy who have played many a VR stealth game, Splinter Cell would have been perfect for it. There are many Splinter Cell-like VR games now. You're hiding, you're shooting, you're a spy on the loose. No one can see you because overwhelming odds, but because you use the environment to your benefit, you're able to get through various levels. It would have been perfect for a Splinter Cell game. But as of course we know, Ubi these days likes to stick their finger in the wind and go, we changed our mind. So it looks like, and we can talk about this a little bit, it looks like they're canceling a bunch of stuff. Like they're canceling a bunch of stuff. They're delaying a bunch of stuff. I have here the VR game, but also 2 unannounced games. Now, when they said 2 unannounced games, there were rumors of a proper Splinter Cell game. Did they actually officially announce the proper Splinter Cell game?
They've already officially announced a Splinter Cell remake.
Okay, so that means that cannot be part of these 2 unannounced games, because that was worrying me. If they canceled the proper Splinter Cell game, that would be very, very disappointing in my opinion. But what do you think, Dutch? Is this a sign of the times? Nothing to be worried about. They seem to be delaying a lot of their stuff. What does that say to you?
You know what it is? Specifically in the Tom Clancy stuff, it got a lot of backlash from Tom Clancy's fans because both that and X-Defiant had absolutely nothing to do with any of Tom Clancy's universe.
True.
And people were sick of Ubisoft kind of using his name. Obviously, I think he's even passed away now, essentially using the Tom Clancy name to get their games more publicity. Specifically the action ones. Now, of course, everyone loved Wildlands, but then Breakpoint went downhill. It eventually got a little bit better with a few updates, but by then it was too late. And then, of course, trying to shove Tom Clancy's name onto what was essentially a battle royale, their own version, and X-Defiant, which had nothing to do with Tom Clancy. To be honest, it's great that they've eventually just got rid of them both, or at least I think X-Defiant's removed the Tom Clancy name, but they're still pressing ahead with that. But it's good. I'm glad that they've got rid of Frontline because it was nothing to do with Tom Clancy. To use his name in such things is becoming a bit of a joke from Ubisoft's side. If they want to use Tom Clancy, then do it justice.
Now, my question to you on that is, in addition to the Tom Clancy cancellations, there's also cancellations and delays of various Assassin's Creed properties. Are we worried that something is afoot at Ubisoft that's causing them? Because that's one thing you can depend on, right? Even when the first parties aren't there day and date, Ubisoft is there day and date to provide a game, to provide like ridiculous, huge open worlds, like 3 at a time. Like what happens? All of a sudden they're delaying stuff.
I think they're probably internally, and the bosses that might be eventually realizing the same thing is you can only do the same thing so many times before it starts getting stale. Splinter Cell VR would have been great, but I don't trust them to have done a good job with it. Again, another Tom Clancy's IP that's just been shoved aside. And of course, that was Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. And it's been done the dirty over the years, much as Ghost Recon for many years now. But in terms of the Assassin's Creed formula as well, like some people loved Valhalla, a lot of people loved Odyssey, a lot of people loved Origins.
Oh man, I still go back to Origins. It's great.
The problem they've got there is that they're so far away from the original the original Assassin's Creed formula
idea.
But it no longer is, and it becomes detached. Like then you're shoehorning assassins into eras that didn't have those, like berserkers in Norse times were the assassins. They're the hired help, the hired guns that would go and kill someone, and they weren't kind of hidden in the shadows. They just go up and maul you to death. They would destroy you. That was the Viking assassin. It's none of this up the sleeve stuff. So, and even playing the game, when you go through it, the assassin sections just feel shoehorned in.
Very shoehorned in. Game. Those games are great IPs on their own that should have had nothing to do with Assassin's Creed. I completely.
Yeah.
Odyssey should have been.
You could have just called it Odyssey. You could have called the other one Origins.
Experience, awesome. Origins could have been its own Egyptian experience. You don't have to Assassin's Creedify everything. You're absolutely right, because that's what brings it down. You're absolutely right. You're
it's the original was trying to get into the assassins and learn about the assassins, and you're going into the two worlds. You're in the modern day when you're trying to connect to this,
trying to figure out why they want what they want and all of that.
And even in Valhalla, for instance, I only remember the beginning and the end is the only time you leave the Animus. The only time. The rest of the game.
They've heard people's complaints. Get rid of the assassins. The whole Abstergo thing. All that doesn't work. Just keep us in the world that we're in. And it seems
the crazy thing is though. The crazy thing is when you go into the Animus normal world, it's like playing an Uncharted game.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. They could have spent some time making the modern world as fun and as entertaining
as of their own in that world.
They could have done that. Absolutely. Instead, they were so stuck on that IP because, as we've already established, it seems that these companies are very, very scared of presenting something that's not tied to an IP, So instead, they put a round peg in a square hole just to make it Assassin's Creed, when they could have just gone off and done something interesting,
Exactly. We get the Ubisoft formula of climbing the tower and you reveal a bit of the map and then that you go and do it, but there's better ways to do it. You can still uncover maps from certain areas. For instance, in these areas with Odyssey and Origins and Valhalla, it would have just been a case of finding those maps in those locations as opposed to getting on top of the tower. And when you open the map, then it reveals the location. You go, okay, now I know the area. Instead of climbing to the tower, you can see all around. And all of a sudden, by climbing this tower, you have now mapped out the entire area
in your head
where everything is. Like looking at an actual map you find makes more sense than climbing a tower and being.
100%. And shout out to Doovie in the chat. Welcome, sir. He makes a good point. He says they're doing it for the dollars. Immortals Phoenix Rising was a great game. No, you get no argument from me. And of course, there's no AC branding, so it didn't do great.
Exactly.
Absolutely. But that's training of the consumer base, right? If you train them to be like, well, where's your next Assassin's Creed? Then that's all they'll want. But if you show them that you're a studio,
so it's like if you train them for games that cost $300. Then that's what they'll tell you is fine. Sorry, I apologize.
There you go. Hey, man, I appreciate it. You see where we're going, right? It's all about what they start and what you establish.
Everborn, it is. I have never been as much as those lovely statue editions of ultra limited edition Ragnarok, whatever it is. I can never ever look at it and justify paying that money for a statue. I have got copious amounts of random shit sitting around my room as it is that just sits there, and I'm like,
The last time I did that was Halo 3 with that helmet.
Yeah. Oh, I'd like the helmet. That was the only thing. I'd love the helmet, but that's about it.
Yeah. And if you wait long enough, eventually those things that were so special and so exclusive become sale. Like I have an actual helmet of Mass Effect right here. It cost me $40. Originally, it was $300. $40 they were selling that thing for, and I have it now, and I'm happy that I waited. It lights up. You can put it on even my big head, and it works. It's fantastic. So, pro tip: if the game isn't worth it, don't pay for the cardboard box that costs $300, right? Because ultimately, it won't work.
And that's another thing as well. Like, I understand people are hyped for it, but I can only imagine being the type of person that eventually goes, you know where it is? I'm going to get that ultra limited edition $300 version, and then I get it and I play the game, and I'm like, this game was so bad.
You would think that they'll offer their special edition stuff after you've loved the game, so that now they have you and you're committed, rather than offering it beforehand. You buy the crazy woolly mammoth and realize the game was trash. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, no doubt, if I eventually invested in something like that and got one of these ultra limited versions, the game would suck. and I'd be stuck with this statue of a game that I don't care about.
That's right. So what's the point? Absolutely hilarious.
That would be my look. That would be my look. I am more inclined to play a game, absolutely love it, and then buy a statue afterwards.
That's right. Because then you're spending too much. It's not a good purchase. But damn it, I love Aloy. I want that statue, and you bought it.
Even saying that, like I'd be more inclined in spending a little bit extra and looking at the Play Arts or Kai Arts versions, because they are insanely detailed.
Yep.
So much more value, and of course, we're not going on King David level where he gets like $5,000 statues. I don't have that.
That man's loose.
I don't have that. I don't have that baller status like King David.
Indeed, I don't think many do. No, I absolutely hear you. On that point, the Ragnarok DLC, not DLC, the collector's edition, what people were clamoring for. I was like,
okay, Jaffe.
It almost bit me a little bit. I was like, maybe I should get that. And then what happened? I saw it's $200 on Amazon, right? Let's be honest, it's a cardboard box. That's what it is. It's a cardboard box with cool writing on the outside, and they have the Mjolnir's replica, right? Which I don't know if it's actual plastic,
which is like
or whatever.
Tiny little hand hammer.
Which
it's
is
not even a proper Mjolnir.
For $200, right? And then I'm Googling around. I'm like, I might want to get, because my shelf, I always want to put some really cool things on the shelf. And then I saw a replica of the actual hammer of Kratos, his hammer from part 1, real hammer, aesthetically colored, like cut, all the designs cut into it, the jewels where you change the jewels already set up, $400, being made by somebody on Etsy, also being sold on Amazon. I'm like, if you're gonna go that route, get this thing, because this is a real, like, it's an actual hammer. Like, you could put that, I can see that right there right now. It's a beautiful thing. But of course, that's $400, way beyond the asking price, and I don't think wifey let that one slide. So I had to step back quietly. But those are the things I think people should be clamoring for and getting excited about, because then you can actually get like a real, something really substantial that if you love the game that much, money's no object at that point. You'll buy it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I would have gotten that instead of the cardboard box, So I might one day y'all will turn on my video and you might see a really cool hammer right there.
It's the same like the other day, and I forgot who it was that ordered it. It was one of the guys, I think someone we follow actually, and he ordered, and it was another Etsy guy that was making Halo M40 ARs.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
The actual like full detailed replica, full sized, everything. Yep. Beautiful, and they were $300. And I was like, if you love that stuff, you would get that. But he wasn't just doing that; he was doing several different versions. He was doing the saw, he was doing the AR. He was doing the sword and everything. I've seen
folks doing that in Etsy where you bring your motorcycle helmet, and they will totally, I mean, even as far as modifications, make it look like Master Chief helmet or some kind of Spartan helmet for you, send it back to you, cost you some bucks, but that is, absolutely special for you, custom deal. That stuff, hey, we all know that money is spent frivolously. That is for your love, or that you love something, you'll do that. But the try to get you in the zeitgeist with the little, here's a collector's edition, which by and large doesn't even include the game. It's like, come on, guys. It's
like I've got a $200 lightsaber, so I know how spending on replica stuff. So,
we go to Disney, which is expensive already anyway, and then you buy the replica, which is also expensive already. It is what it is. But all right, let us move on. We will get to the slanders part of this episode, because is there slander to come. But before we get there, I kind of wanted to get people's feeling on it. I am not a big Discord user. A lot of people have told us that it'd be really cool if we started a Discord. I've started a Discord channel. I haven't really promoted it. I'm trying to feel my way through it. Maybe one of these days I'll be asking you guys to join our Discord so we can have more detailed conversation there. But
I set up an Everborn Discord years ago. And the only people that are in there are the Everborn team. So I kind of got to get like a community in there. It's just so much work.
It's just another thing to build.
Another thing to manage, right? Yeah, exactly. Now, we were talking about this before the show started, Dutch, and you brought up some very interesting points. Let's start at the top. You're probably more of a Discord user than the two of us on this show. What do you think about this news that it's coming fully to Xbox? Well, in some form to Xbox. What are your thoughts on it?
I came at it, especially before we started in the green room. I was speaking about the fact that there's a lot of podcasts out there these days that revolve around using Discord voice chat as a means of joining that show. Now, of course, there's a lot of people as well that don't have, outside of using the mobile Discord, which is neither here nor there, and these apps can have a lot of issues when you're trying to use them on voice chat specifically. But having Discord integrated into Xbox and into console platforms now not only allows you to just hang out and play games with people on Discord who can be on pretty much any platform now. It could be an Xbox, PlayStation. I think PlayStation are getting it as well.
PC,
and PC, Steam, etc. So across the board, you'll be able to chat to whoever it is from any platform using Discord chat, which is awesome. It means you don't have to turn on your PlayStation and put a headset into it and also turn on your Xbox and try to navigate two chats if people are on both platforms. You can just chat to anybody as long as your Hangout's available. On the flip side as well, then more people will be able to get into podcasting if it's just a Discord podcast. Be able to jump in from your console using a headset. It's going to be a lot easier to do that. Of course, then you can literally create a podcast from nothing. It just requires one person to have a laptop and being able to set up the rest of it. It's an awesome gateway to a lot of different things.
Can you imagine if that is the 4D chess they're playing? We want a world where anybody, like entry-level podcast, can start up, fledgling podcast can start up from a console, because now all you need is just your console and the ability to communicate with others. That's an interesting thought, man.
The additional thing that I'd love to see, and of course we've had Snap on console before previously, which they removed for just excess processing requirements and background processing.
Yeah, they took it away from Xbox and then gave it to PlayStation, who now has Snap on.
But imagine being in a video voice chat on using Discord, which you can do anyway. And just having those icons or those cameras kind of in a smaller version around the screen whilst you're playing a game, or in certain locations, or even just along the bottom. So you've all got your cameras set up, you're all playing this game, or even co-op playing this game, but you can all see each other at the same time as well on your screen.
Yep.
Like that would be
it's been done before, addition. Actually. What's the name of that game? Oh, darn it. I forget the name of the game. Oh, darn it. Oh, it was like a card game. Darn it. Kids game. The Xbox had it many years ago. The Uno. Yes. Xbox had it many years ago. It's what they used to show off their first video features, where you could literally have your face, their face, bunch of faces, depending on all of it. That is a very good idea. Imagine having all the various little cameras. You can set them strategically for aesthetics on the screen, and everybody from all places are playing the same.
You've got to think how easy it would then be to create a podcast based on that, because you could all
while you're gaming,
you could all be playing this console game.
Yeah,
your cameras are already on screen on the bottom. Your audio is coming through, so you stream that. You've already got the cameras, you've got the audio, you've got the gameplay. That's the podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got me. I was like, this is good for those who care about it, but I'm not really that much into Discord. But if that is the future we're talking about,
not to throw any shade but shade is where it's due. With Xbox, you can use any USB camera known to man.
Yep, true.
With PlayStation,
they took away the Kinect, but you can put any webcam in there you want. PlayStation, not so much.
PlayStation, on the other hand, you best be paying for that PlayStation only camera that they provide, and nobody else. That's $100 minimum.
Yep, that's true. Absolutely. Oh, good morning, Mr. Double Barrel Gaming. We hope you're doing well, sir. We're feeling. Oh yeah, they're still feeling a little down. Yes. We're looking forward to your return this week, sir. I hope all is well. Appreciate you for being here.
I will throw PlayStation a bone.
Okay.
They may be forcing the use of a specific camera, but Xbox is forcing the use of a specific, and we know the reasons for it, but you still have to use their hard drive expansion.
See,
and we were told that there would change multiple providers by now.
Yeah, but at the same time as well, at least with the fact that you plug in their own hard drive, you are protected under warranty.
True.
With PlayStation,
True.
you are not.
We can throw slander left and right here.
Destroy your console, you are done.
You're SOL, as they say. Yes. And while we're throwing shade left and right, I will throw shade at Xbox on this rare occasion and say, at least when I'm playing my game, and then I remember, oh man, I just played an hour of it. I can still go back on my PS5 and go save that last hour, and boom, I have my footage. Whereas on Xbox, if I don't remember to hit the record button beforehand, all that is lost. Come on, Xbox.
I was going to say I've stopped doing that now, and I just open up OBS.
Mm-hmm.
I have an entire scene that is just the game and nothing else.
Yep.
And as soon as I start playing, click.
See, record. You have to remember. Whereas it has happened to me on many occasions where I'm playing Forbidden West. I'm like, I'll just get about 20 minutes in. An hour and a half later, I'm like, whoa, this is a pretty good run. And then I hit record, and it got all of my footage. Like,
I do not trust Xbox's DVR. They are renowned for needing fixed immensely. Like my 4K DVR now has now started for absolutely no reason under the sun. Only recording 12-second clips. I have no idea why. Like I tried to, like I was just playing FIFA the other day, and
this is on Xbox.
Yeah, scored an awesome goal.
Okay.
On FIFA, went to record that, which would do the last 30 seconds usually, or the last minute, depending on what you've got it set to.
Yeah,
and
it's set right. Only 12 minutes came up,
but not the goal.
Oh, that's terrible, man! They really need to fix that, man. Like it. I don't know what we have to do to get them on the ball.
What I'd like to know is when, because they bought like Clip Champ, which is this online editing.
You know what they did with that, right? They just put the logo for it in Windows 11, and they're expecting people to subscribe to it. You can go to clipchamp.com, which is ridiculous.
No,
that's a good software too.
If you have, if you're on Xbox, that should be included. I get if you want to do it on the web, then you can subscribe, but like. That's pretty. Actually, they don't even really need to charge for that. Like,
no. Well, it had a charging subscription system before it was purchased. They haven't stripped it out of it yet. So
but they were an individual company, so I get it now. But Microsoft, you have other revenue streams, and it can make your existing services better.
And so I mean, how many people have really subscribed since Microsoft bought them? I doubt many people have. I don't even think they still see that as a thing. They need to just add it. Keep it a cloud solution. Add a link to it within the console, just like you're pulling the video to your phone. Pull it to the cloud system where that can be edited in the cloud.
Well, one thing that's interesting that they rolled out maybe like a year back or something was in the Xbox app when you want to share a clip, you can actually just share a link to the clip.
That's right. Keep it in the cloud. And absolutely.
I think they need better integration with social media, so it will play as though it was a inline video. Because sometimes you have to like
a YouTube clip or something.
You want it to kind of just play automatically when you're in Twitter or Facebook or whatever.
But all in all, though, we can all agree DVR just needs to be scrapped and rebuilt.
Bro, absolutely. They need to look. I'm not one to be like copy PlayStation, but I'm sorry. Copy PlayStation on this 100%. I want a PlayStation copy.
Light years ahead of DVR. Light years
Come on. This is absolutely and they have the same resource allocation that you do. They even have less resource allocation if you check certain specs. Your console is far more capable than theirs is. Do something with it.
I really don't know what it is with DVR because it's not even just the recording of clips that has issues. It's the playback. It's the interface.
Not a high priority.
True, absolutely, and we need to keep yelling about it to make it high priority.
The problem is and I don't think that they see this, because again, I said this before. I'll say it again. Microsoft can tend to suffer from what I like to call Excelitis. Whereas they're going to look at certain data points and say that based on the numbers we're looking at, these things matter and don't matter. But I think sometimes you can miss the forest for the trees like that. So being too data driven. So
at the same time, as Everborn, one of the key things they need to realize is that not having a DVR, a functioning one, restricts free advertisement.
Exactly. And
it is literally advertisement on a plate, because the more
it's detrimental to them
and share the photos only emphasizes why people are playing these games.
Let me add something else. The standardization of photo mode for Sony's first party, people will share photos and things like that look better than the actual game, but it gives the perception to people that this is what the game looks like. Yep. And so in people's minds, when we talk about mind share and choosing which console to buy and where cutting edge things are happening, it looks like Sony's light years ahead. True. And this is all something, if you integrated these photo modes, you could benefit from some of that as well.
100%. Well, you've seen, I think everybody's seen that guy on Twitter. I think he's called Sunil or something like that. And he creates these unbelievable action sequences in all the games that he's with using the kind of video recording
photo modes. Yep.
So he slows down certain areas and gets all the attacks in slow motion and then some awesome attacks and things. It's that makes the game look so much better than what I am capable of.
That's right. All it takes is one individual with really good creativity using your tools to make your product shine brighter than you could ever do. So even though the numbers may not line up as far, and I completely agree with you, Everborn, them looking at their spreadsheets, they can't account for that one person that's able to hit that shot so beautifully.
Also, if
it blows up on the internet,
if you're looking at how much Xbox gamers share, maybe they're not sharing because your sharing solution sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly. Yep.
I hate for the tough talk, but let's call
but this is what it is. And if you are right, which I suspect you are right, Everborn, they don't prioritize it because they don't see the need of it. It is up to us to say, hey guys, please, whenever possible, let them know this is necessary. We're sick and tired of it. We want a functioning DVR system. Go ahead,
want to say one thing.
Close it out.
With this whole Discord thing, because I think we got a little bit off track talking about DVR.
No, hey,
I just want to beat this drum. Get rid of party chat and natively integrate Teams into the Xbox. Teams on Xbox, I'm telling you, it's the way to go. It is your popular communications tool. Everybody uses it for business. Have them use it in this space as well. You don't have to rely on Discord. I get it. Discord's important. This could be an option, but
no, I don't think that'll ever happen. I don't think that'll
bring
ever happen.
Teams in.
That's like saying get rid of something on the Xbox and put Excel on there. It'll never, even if it's better, and we know it's better. Yeah, the perception will be.
It does broadcasting. It does screen share. It has proper chat.
It does.
You can bring in tools. So I'm telling you, Teams.
So Jay More Money is saying, if you don't like it, don't use it. And then he says, "Ain't that where we at these days?" I hear you, brother. I hear you. Absolutely. No.
You don't like the air quality. Don't breathe.
Don't breathe it. That's right. All right. Well, thank you guys so much in the chat for being here. Keep continuing to move the conversation forward. Please consider hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. We appreciate y'all.
This is a Sonic Central channel.
No, it is not, sir. I was about to take offense to his slanderous take. This is not a Sonic centric channel, sir.
It's a Mario Central channel now.
That's right. We're waiting until Sonic Frontiers comes. Then it'll be a Sonic centric channel for maybe a day while we either speak highly of it or we rip it to pieces. Either or. We're waiting till that game comes out before we focus more on Sonic. But let us move along, because we're getting more into our slanderous side of the conversation. I want to build this up to where it's going to go, but let's first start with Persona 5's upgrade process. I'm sorry, I had to bring this up. This is a thing that falls into the I'm not surprised category, but I did get surprised by some comments that I really want to have a conversation about, and I want to bring my two fine gentlemen in this panel into this conversation because I want to take an earnest reading of this situation. Okay, we've seen this happen multiple times. It comes out on PlayStation. If you have the one version, you still have to pay to upgrade to the other version. We're just like, what the heck, head scratch, whatever, right? And when I saw this come out, I'm like, yeah, scratch this in the duh column. Sony being Sony, what are you going to do? And then I saw some of these comments. Now, for my audio listeners who do not see my screen, some of these comments, one of them specifically, and I'm not here calling shade on whoever this individual is. It's just the comment itself that just got me like, oh my God, these people actually believe this stuff. So that we understand, first, if you are an owner of the PS4 version of Persona 5 Royale, you will not be able to upgrade to the PS5 version. You will have to buy it again, confirms Atlas. That is basically the long and short of it, right? And then one of the commenters, and please do not throw shade at this commenter, this is just one I picked from many, says the upgrade path is probably blocked by Microsoft. Same thing like that weird embargo where Atlas wasn't allowed to mention PlayStation or Switch or PC versions. Microsoft is afraid. So in this commenter's estimation, Microsoft has money-hatted Atlas to the point where they can't, not only can they not speak to other versions of the game.
I want to point out just really quick that yesterday on Xbox 2, Rad and Jez said I was crazy with the conspiracy.
Yes, they. Oh, and let's take a quick moment. Let's take a quick moment to regale ourselves on how much they clowned you yesterday on the show. Man, it was a good segment.
I listened.
Man, but yes, these are some of the takes that are out there right now.
But we'll see.
So it seems that not only is PlayStation getting away with not being so friendly to their customer base, but they somehow are able to convince certain people that it's not them that are doing it. It's not them that are and this may and let me take that back. This may or may not have anything to do with PlayStation at all. It could be Atlas saying, "Look, we're not doing, you don't offer a smart delivery or whatnot, and we're not going there. We're not going down that path. So if you want a new version, you're getting a new version. You have to buy that, and that's it, right?" We don't know that Atlas was like, "Oh, please let us give these things for free," and PlayStation said no, right? We don't know that, so let's not speak on those in those terms. But just the idea that some folks think that the reason why this is not happening is because Microsoft is purposely stopping and stifling them from being able to do that. That really surprised the heck out of me. I don't know. I'm sorry. I know this is in the realm of this is what PlayStation does. Is there a genuine reading of this situation at any place? Like Dutch, do people actually believe this? Really? This is really what people believe?
I don't know if they believe it, but I also don't understand what he means by the last section. Atlas couldn't mention the PS Switch and PC versions. Does he never pay attention
I think he watched this when he saw it on an Xbox show. He expected them on an Xbox show to mention the PC
on every other console. Have you seen has he ever watched any PlayStation show where they show off Hogwarts, like the Hogwarts game, and they don't mention it's on every other platform because they're not allowed to talk about PlayStation. It's just one of those things. Afterwards, you'll see the trailer come out everywhere else, confirming it's everywhere else. Every platform does it. Nintendo does it. Xbox does it. PlayStation does it. The initial section, the upgrade, I don't understand. If he's being deadly serious about thinking that Microsoft blocked the upgrade path, then I am lost for words. If he's just joking about that and just being generally toxic about Microsoft, which is probably...
I'm taking him for his word here. Maybe he's just being a troll, right? Because there are many of those on the net, and I see his icon, and I'm not using that against him. But still, I'm hoping that that's what this is, because there are a lot of takes similar to this that make me go, what am I seeing that others are not? Or what am I not seeing that others are? Because this is just weird to me. I don't understand.
And it's essential, essentially there is... So on Xbox... And those that might be watching this channel that don't have a Series console, when you play a game that has a Series X enhancement, it will automatically pop up when you start the game upgrade. If you're playing on a Series console, if you're playing on an older gen console like a 1X or a 1S, it'll just install the base version. It won't install the upgraded version, the Series version. there is no in between. You can play the old version on the new console, but it will attempt to force you to upgrade that to the actual version.
It sees the hardware and wants to give you the version that hardware
to give you the actual version, and it will prevent you from originally starting the game when you boot it up, because it'll just say, "Do you want to upgrade?" Yeah, upgrade, and then it'll close the game down, upgrade it, adds another 10, 20 gig or whatever to the original base file, and then you can start the game. It doesn't but on PlayStation, there are two separate files. There are literally two. You can install the PS4 version and the PS5 version on the same console if you want.
Yep.
And there is no bridge between the two.
Which is, if you don't pay for it, if you don't have entitlement for the newer version, you are stuck on the older version, and you will always just have the older version until you pay for the newer version.
Versions. The funny thing is, though, is the older version is still there to be able to get.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still unintentionally, perhaps, play the older version, not knowing it's the older version, not getting the upgraded version. Because
can I just say that this explanation has caused me to go cross-eyed?
I don't yeah, exactly. Indeed. And they don't care that's the way their system works. Shout out to Mr. Pixelbit G, who's not in here. He queued me in on this instance, and he has a statement for that. Whereas Xbox has smart delivery, he goes, "Oh, there it goes. Sony's dumb delivery strikes again." That's what cued me into this situation.
And the rabble rouser Slomo has just joined.
He has joined us. Welcome, Slow. Welcome. I see you. I see you're in here already being slanderous. Congratulations. The first one of the day, and it's already a banger. I appreciate it. So yes, well, that's the question. That is the question. It's an interesting question that Slomo brings up. Will the older version of the Persona games come out with Persona 5? Meaning you're just going to get the newest, latest, greatest version from jump.
Persona 5
They're not going to give you the old one.
Yes, the Persona 5 is the first. The other two come out next year.
Okay.
So 3 and 4. So you essentially get 3, 4, and 5. You get 5 first because it is the newest one, and people want to play the newest one. So that's the one they're putting out first.
Yep.
And then 3 and 4 are added next year. But 5 was the priority, so they wanted to get 5 in as soon as possible.
Want to get 5 in.
Let me ask you guys a question, and this is for the chat as well. With this newfound relationship with Atlas or Sega or whatever at Microsoft, does this mean whenever Persona 6 comes out, it's
day and date?
It's not Game Pass, but I'm just saying day and date.
But day and date on the service. That's the hope, isn't it? We don't know until we know.
You've seen what happens with MLB now. That was day and date, not only just day and date on the console for MLB 22, but day and date Game Pass again for MLB 22. So I think they see the benefits of just being multi-plat, and a lot of these third parties, specifically multi-platform developers, those who have the funds. Of course, I do not count indies in this because indie teams don't necessarily have the funds in order to create multiple versions of the game at the same time.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about Game Pass. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, not to you.
Available on the system.
Day it comes to PlayStation.
That's
not
the hope.
To you in general. I just mean from a AAA standpoint. From a AAA standpoint, multi-platform developers, I think, should see by now the benefit of just creating everything, getting it all out on multiple platforms on day and date, as opposed to having these timed exclusive periods. I can understand smaller independent developers that can't get their games out on every platform day and date because it is a lot of work to try and get one platform ready anyway. So I can understand that. But these big guys, Atlas, huge developer, massive. It's a case of there's no doubt going forward. I think Persona is going to be just a multi-platform game.
Yeah, they're definitely putting a lot more marketing into, hey, look, it's everywhere now, So to bring that back, to then claw it back to exclusivity on PlayStation after that.
Just one thing, though. I need... Because I'm going to play Persona 5 when it drops. Like, that's one of my things.
Ideally, they should have released the 4 and the older ones first before
I'm not playing the older ones. I don't care about those. I'm going to play Persona 5, but I need my Xbox brothers in Christ to also play Persona 5 to show them that it was worth the effort.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just like the Yakuza series, which has become a huge hit on Xbox, right? Since they first dropped it, it came. All of them dropped. Some of them went away, and then they dropped again because people wanted them back, right? It's recently they put all the Kiwami and the rest of them all of them back. So presumably, it is having that good effect that we want it to have, which is, when it does drop, players play it, let folks know that, hey, it was worth the effort of putting it in the service. So hopefully more of them come. And besides, it's not just for us anyway. They're speaking to all the other communities as well, both the Japanese audience.
See, even more slander from Slomo in there.
Of course,
How dare you? How dare you? I'm going to go Greta Thunberg on you here. How dare you?
How dare you, sir?
Okay, all right. If playing the game is too much, I need you to pretend you played the game in the spaces. Can we at least do that?
At least install it.
At least install it and let them know it graced your hard drive. Yes, that's true. But most of these will also most likely come out in cloud, so you could try it anywhere. Why not? Yep. Give it a shot. By and large, these games are worth the effort. Persona 5 specifically, just the UI alone is beautiful. They really, really know what to do with aesthetics. It's beautiful.
You know what it is as well, though. For all those Persona newbies like myself, and I was a Yakuza newbie until it came to Xbox. Never even thought about playing the game. I did not like the Yakuza series, but I loved Like a Dragon, and I haven't finished it yet, but I love what I've played so far of it. Yep. I need to go back to it. I purchased Like a Dragon. I didn't wait for it to hit Game Pass.
So did I. I bought the disc. Yeah, I bought it. Yep.
But you didn't have a lot of options when the Xbox launched. So
P5R, for instance, could be that game that gets a lot of people into the Persona.
True.
It's one of the best Persona games that they've created, if not the best, from what I've heard, from what the community have advised. So it could be that P5R is awesome, and that you go back to the older games, you don't like them so much. So this could be the standout of the series that gets you into it going forward. Much like, and I'm thankful that the guys over at that create Yakuza have said, listen, Lost Judgment's going to be the beat 'em up, whereas Yakuza is going to remain turn-based. I'm thankful, because that's going to be, for me, a reason to get more into the Yakuza franchise going forward, because I think it worked better that way. Playing the older style Yakuzas felt terrible.
And I will completely freely admit, I don't like to have to depend on subtitles for my games.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. It's difficult. It's a switch in my brain I can't make. I can watch subtitle movies easily, but playing a subtitle game, it has never connected with me.
Yeah.
So that's why I haven't been able to play the other Yakuzas. But Like a Dragon, I loved the hell out of that game. And Judgment, I'm gonna love that as well. I appreciate them bringing that more to a vaster audience.
I need somebody to explain this to me. So, Like a Dragon was the first one that was dubbed.
Yes, it was the first. It was the first one that actually came with official English voice language. Yeah.
Okay, and Lost Judgment. When does that come out?
Judgment and Lost Judgment will both. Judgment also came with American English voice acting, and Lost Judgment will also have English voice acting. But all the others before that.
When does Lost Judgment come out?
I thought Lost Judgment already released, or is that coming soon? I know Judgment is the first in that.
I think it's still being made, isn't it? Lost Judgment.
Lost Judgment's not out yet. Yes, but Judgment is out, and that's the beat 'em up. I can take a quick look.
All right, chat. Tell us, with your infinite knowledge, when does Lost Judgment come out?
Yes. Why do you ask, sir?
No. Just I want to know if I'm just trying to plan out the rest of my gaming year.
Okay, he's making plans already. Okay,
right, so
Lost Judgment is already out. Is it the follow-up game then, the new one?
It's a follow-up game to Judgment, isn't it?
No. So Lost Judgment is the follow-up. It's out, so it must be the new Judgment that we're thinking of.
Yeah. So okay, I see what's happening now. Judgment came out in 2018. Lost Judgment came out in 2021.
Yeah.
And then Yakuza Like a Dragon came out in 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. So for by and large, the series was all completely Japanese based. You had some English subtitles, and then since Judgment and Yakuza Like a Dragon, they've done English voice acting, and I have tried to play that multiple times. I've actually gone through Kiwami most of the way, Yakuza Kiwami most of the way, but it just the subtitles, because sometimes you got to be fast with it, and the action and all of that, it makes it difficult. It forces me to have to slow down and go back, and sometimes you can't go back. What did he just say? You have to reread it. I hope and wish that they would like actually official voice title all of them, like English voice title all of them. I would love to start from zero and work all my way through the entire thing. But even as is right now, it's a great experience that people should definitely give a try to. So, okay, let us move on to the slanderous part of this conversation. I wanted to have this conversation. We had similarly last week, where we, as you guys recall, we titled the show "Charge Them More" because we were talking about folks who insist on backing the corporations who want nothing more than to separate them from their hard-earned dollars. And we thought we left it all on the screen. I saw some really great reviews in the comment section. People talking about this was a great episode of the Common Sense podcast. I think I like that. That's the Common Sense podcast. We thought we left it alone. It was done. We had said it. We were ready. And then the news gods decided to continue providing, and they were very upset. And it was just like, come on, we need to have this value conversation again. Now, I'm very glad to have Dutch here this week, because the last week when we talked about this, the one piece of the puzzle, and shout out to Gaz, he was here. We should have pivoted in that realm, but unfortunately we didn't. I want to have a more international take on this conversation, because the whole Charge Them More initiative, while I stand firmly behind that initiative, I'm there with you. The ramifications of that mean so much more to those who don't live in the continental US, right? Because Charge Them More becomes unattainable by and large to Australians, to some Canadians, to the folks that live in the UK and in Europe broadly. And we living in the States may not think about that, or don't get exposed to those aspects of the conversation. So we just kind of skip over it, right? But again, this all came back to a head, and it all came back to the topic of conversation when leaks for the upcoming Last of Us remake were found on the internet. And let's be clear here, okay? I know a lot of back and forth as to what it is, what it's not, what it'll contain, what it won't contain. And we'll start at the top, but from what I can tell, they literally took, basically what they did was Halo Anniversary. That's what this is. This is Halo Anniversary. They have the original game, which in its original engine, and it did what it did with what it could at that time. Then they made a new engine. They made a new game in that engine and went, you know what? Let's take this new engine with these new benefits graphically and remake the original game in this new engine so that it shines brighter. The same game in all aspects of it. It is the same game, but it's using a new coat of paint. It's using new design language. It's using all the Last of Us 2 learnings to kind of push this forward, right? And here we are. It's basically Halo Anniversary, right? And they're asking that you pay $70 for it. And then, there goes again, the value conversations come up. Dutch, let's start with you, sir. I know you've heard this conversation. I know you've heard the back and forth. Twitter is ablaze. There are people in spaces, even right now, I bet, crying and screaming about how unacceptable this is, or crying and screaming about how people are ridiculous for thinking $70 isn't worth it for it. Where do you fall when all this started? What was your take on this conversation?
So obviously, and at the moment, Europe's the euro itself took a nosedive. So the euro is almost on par with the dollar. So Europe,
which is surprising as hell, by the way. Like, wow,
which sounds like vacation time to me.
Indeed, how the mighty have fallen. Let's go shopping, baby. Let's do this. Let's go.
The UK, on the other hand, is the opposite way around. So the UK, it has went a little bit down, but not too much. So a $70 game would still equate to an $85 game over here. So it's still $15 more expensive. For the euro, it's $71 essentially. So it's a massive nosedive. So it's not too dissimilar to what you guys are paying. Over in Canada, etc., it's still way up on that $90 to $100 mark. But specifically in the UK, it's still what would equate to being an $85 game. The initial stills that I saw, I was confused at anyway, because the original kind of look of Joel that they had sitting beside Ellie in the car made him look like he was as aged as he was in the second one. But in the first one. And Ellie looked just like a
weird toy.
Yeah. But Ellie looked like she was the same age as in the second one, but they just shrunk it down to make her look like a smaller girl, even though she looked identical to the second one. She looked completely unlike what I thought was the original character model for Ellie in the first. Like, if you have a look there, that screenshot you've got right there, that looks like the second game. It doesn't look like the first game.
It looks like the second game, but instead of taking the first game and then increasing on that, they took the second game and they decreased. So she looks older, and then they kind of extrapolated back what she would look like in the beginning.
Shrunk her down a little bit.
Shrunk her down.
Still looks like the exact
it is very strange
character from the second one, whereas the Ellie from the first one looks younger, but also is very different.
There's definitely differences there. Yep, absolutely.
So it made them both look older in the first one than they were originally artistically put in there for. I don't know whether or not it was meant to be that they looked this old in the first place, and that they just couldn't imagine that in the first one. But because the first one's already been out for so long in many versions, going back and then changing it now to make them look older than they would have done when you played the first one just looked really odd to me.
Yeah.
Like, Joel looks a lot older now in the first one than he did when the first game released.
Yeah,
and weird styling.
You know what? Yeah, I hear you on that.
You can see it in that clip.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's almost like they haven't earned it. Like when you saw Joel in part 2, you came to it with everything you'd already known and been through in part 1, so you can see, oh, they've earned. He's gruff now. After everything,
obviously in the second part, she's another foot or so taller. She's a teenager. She's
earned. You know what she's been through to get there, and now
you can understand why he's like really grey haired. But in this one, it's like several months after the incident. He's not actually meant to be like fully grayed out by this point. But he is. Yeah, so it was just a weird design choice, I think.
It is
a weird design choice, in my opinion, anyway, putting the new character models into and by that I mean visually as opposed to graphically. You can do graphic enhancements, but
look at this one. It's very inconsistent. In certain instances, you're just like, when you see part 4, you're like, there was no need for change it. And then in other instances, you're like, is this PS2 footage? Like, what happened there? I don't remember PS4 looking like this. And then you see the difference. There is a drastic difference in comparison. Like when you see the two of them laughing in the first one versus the second one, look at this one. This image here, right? It looks like game footage, fine. But then when they switch, you're just like, yo, that is such an improvement. But that's not how it is all the time. It's very inconsistent.
And there's certain sections as well, and you're right, but there are certain sections where there's certain materials that they've used for backpacks or clothing or whatever look like they have more detail in the original remaster
than they do in the new.
Remake. And I don't understand what's happening there, whether or not the lighting's causing that particular visual dilemma that you've got in your eyes when you're viewing something and it doesn't look as detailed. Because maybe they had to be a little bit more harsh on the anti-aliasing or something to get the sharpness on these particular items to be higher.
So I guess the question to be asked is, like, first and foremost, yes, we understand that new work was done on the original material to make it conform to this new standard. That's all well and good, right? And we're seeing a lot of the back and forth here on screen. My question is, does this justify what they're trying to justify? Clearly, they feel they needed to do that, so that's why you have all this ready to go, right? It's like it wasn't a foregone conclusion that the consumer base will see what we're trying to do here. It's fine. You can literally see that they had all this material already prepared to try and convince you. Is this righteous, or did they understand what the firestorm that was about to happen, and this is them trying to mitigate that? What do you think? Where are they coming from with this?
At the end of the day, it is a pretty redo of the game, but it is still the same game. It's still the same story. Exactly. You're still doing the same actions. The puzzles are the same. Everything about the game is the same, apart from the fact that now you've got some haptics and it looks pretty.
Yeah,
there's got a little bit of no shine on it, and it's in a new engine. But there's nothing to say until you get your hands on it that it feels any different than the original game anyway. And the only reason I would have played this version over the previous version is if it felt more like the second one, or felt exactly like the second one in terms of how the game plays.
Yeah.
But there is nothing to actually say that the game plays any different. They can show a video all they like. Until we get our hands on it, there's nothing to say that this game plays or feels any different than the first.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
That is the issue a lot of people had. It wasn't the graphical differences, really. It was this game looks mechanically like the first one.
Let me, because here's the thing, right? And I think we're losing the forest from the trees when we start to talk about, and we muddy the waters when we start to talk about what was added and why they deserve this and why they deserve that. I want to ask anyone, if they remember in this chat, how much was Miles Morales when it was first released?
Oh, yeah.
Does anybody remember?
I think it was, what is it, $35? I thought it was.
You could probably get it for that, but let's go with the $50 price tag.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yep.
Whole new game.
Yep.
Right? New animations, new story, new actors, everything.
Yep.
New game. $50.
Yeah.
Cross-gen. That is because they knew that, hey, this is a cross-gen game. This is the same engine that we already built. We didn't have to do as much work as if we completely build the game from scratch, and they were testing out the market, right? Do you feel like Last of Us Part 1, you get as much in this as you got in Miles Morales?
Absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not.
So why was Miles Morales $50 and this is $70? I'm going to tell you why. Because every time they tried to increase a price, you motherfuckers went around.
You only get one of those.
Also, you notice there's no NPCs in that clip you just showed. But
yes, that is very interesting.
NPCs, but that's
the older version has a bunch of NPCs. The newer version has more UI, like this part right here. Like as soon as he grabs it, you'll see it right now. And that's an interesting point to make. This right here. If you see the original version, there's so
many people running along that road.
In order to make the shiny new look shiny new, they removed all the people. There are no people in there now. Even though the old version was just full of humans.
Yeah, it was. You are absolutely right. Yeah, I didn't even see that the first time around. It was a literal city running for their lives.
That's right. And now it's an empty space with just you and the kid. Continue, Everborn.
But my point is, and Slomo, you know why.
I know, right?
The point is,
PG-13. Come on now.
This is $70 because every time someone said, hey, this is a little bit onerous on the pricing, everybody jumped on them and said, how dare you question this corporation's pricing? Because corporations have always been my friend, and they've always done what's right for me and the consumer. So this is not about paying $70 for a game. This is not about what you find value in. This is you.
And he dropped off. Oh, they got him. They sniped him. Oh no. That's perfect timing too. Amazing.
I'll tell you what, mind. I'll tell you what value is. I picked up Last of Us Part 2 for a whopping £14.
There you go.
I will be doing the same for Last of Us 1 Remake. I will be getting the game when it is reduced in price to a level that I agree with. Having already owned the first one.
They got me.
Go ahead.
The first one. I have no rush to get the remake as yet.
Yeah.
There is absolutely no rush for me to get it because I've got the first one. I've got the remaster. I can play the remaster all the way through. It's still the same story. There's no changes to that. If I want to play the game, I can play the game. So there is absolutely no rush for me to go out and spend another $70 to play this. So I'm going to do what I did with Last of Us Part 2 and wait for it to come down steeply, which I managed to get as Everborn dropped out there for £14, which equates to less than $20. Not even a year after it released. So I'll be waiting.
I want to let you get on, but let me give one quick point, and then I will let you, because I know you have a lot to say about this. The point that Dutch made that I really agree with, and this will be unique to those who've played the first and the second. The second one is next gen, not because of its graphics. Yes, the graphics are there. Yes, we enjoyed the graphics; they were really good. But if you played that first one and then played the second one was such a tour de force because of the way the AI interacts with each other, because of the way it interacts with you, because of the usability they gave you in the gameplay. You could go prone, you could do this, you could do that. You hurt someone and you'll hear them going, "Oh my God, they got Steve, tell his kids." You know what I mean? Like they really, really went for that lifelike aesthetic, right? So when they promised that we're rebuilding part 1 and part 2, you would think they would bring those aspects to part 2. And by and large, none of that was done here. It's just pretty, but identical to the first, which is very much a stale kind of game that did not transcend that usability that part 2 really got. And that's where I personally go, if you had done that, if you really took the time and did that work to really make the stuff that part 2 introduced to us, bring that into part 1, I wouldn't have such a problem justifying its price. But just making it a prettier version of part 1, identical in every way, stilted, and in certain instances removing elements from part 1 to make it work, that's why the price.
No. But again, the thing is this, right? When you got Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, they gave you Iki Island with that. Did they or did they not?
I never bought that because I thought that was a cash grab, but continue. I see your point. Go ahead.
There's no hey, here's a chapter that you never saw in the story.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
There's nothing new here. They did some technical things, and I'm not discounting that. But if you're telling me building an entire game is worth $70, an entire brand new game, which is what Horizon Forbidden West is, which is what Ratchet and Clank was, which is what Returnal is. That's building a whole new game, God of War Ragnarok, whole new game. Did they put the work in that they put in Ragnarok?
Even Final Fantasy Remake, Final Fantasy Remake, which is now the gold standard of what remake is.
This is not a remake.
They blew it out.
This is not a remake.
And they gave you a different story.
This is absolutely not a remake. We need to dispel that right now.
I mean, no.
My point is,
standpoint, it is. They remade this game. It's not an upgrade. No, but look, this is the thing. These parlances cannot be. It's not a remaster. It's not. This is not a remaster.
This is the money of the waters that Sony wants.
No, but see, this is it. The problem here is they use these terms back and forth, right? And in doing so, they basically fool you into telling their story for them. Technically, it's a remake. Why? Because it's not the same engine that's been spruced up. It's not the same assets that have been cleaned up. It is literally a new engine.
So, what is Final Fantasy then? And what is the Resident Evil?
It is, I would actually, on Final Fantasy's side, because, and again, I love Final Fantasy, I would class 7 Remake as more of 7 Reboot because it is nothing like the original.
Sure. It's a reboot.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about Resident Evil 2?
That's a remake.
It's a remake.
Is this on the level of Resident Evil 2?
No.
Yes. No, it is. It is. Graphically, it is.
So it's the same thing as the work they put into Resident Evil.
Better graphics. Exactly as Resident.
This you would put on the level of Resident Evil 2. That's what you're saying.
Question about Resident Evil 2. Do they go different places than the original one did?
Yes.
Okay, so they added more substance to the game itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
They changed it a little bit. They changed a few things, added a few things. They also then allowed you to be tank controls or new controls.
Yes. So, okay. I honestly think, and I hear what you're saying, Everborn. I honestly think that it's the adding or changing of content that muddies the water a bit. But let's not even go that far, right? That's why I said
it's the mechanical aspect for
Halo Anniversary. That's why I said Halo Anniversary, because Halo Anniversary is a remake, but gives you no new content. It's exactly the same thing, but literally remade in a new engine with new aesthetics. Even the cutscenes are made by Blur, different. If you look at it beat for beat, same exact game. But the Anniversary part is a remake because they remade all those assets for that new engine. That's the same here, right? That's the technical term. But if we live in a world where they're trying to sell remake to consumers under new modified world or modified gameplay, or giving you new elements to play with, new worlds, new DLC or something like that, yeah, this doesn't reach that level. 100%. I'm there with you on that. This is not your Final Fantasy remake because that gave you different that was
a different perspective entirely.
Even Souls, the new Demon Souls, they a beat for beat, it's the same game, but there used to be a brush here. Now it's not. You used to take the left. Now they chose to make you go the middle. There are slight subtle differences in there while making it, right? So in that aesthetic, I do agree with you, Everborn, that it does not reach that height. But let's not play their game.
Remake. You're playing their game when you're saying this is on the same level of Resident Evil 2.
Actually, there's another point to be made. There is another point to be made as well, Everborn.
Go ahead.
The multiplayer is not included within this one.
Exactly. It's less.
So okay, no multiplayer, right? They did what they did on that technical side, but does anyone here believe that the amount of work that was that's being put into God of War Ragnarok and was put into Miles Morales and was put into Horizon, does anyone believe that that's the same level of work that was put in here? And if not, why is it the same price? And why are people jumping all over anyone that says, hey, this does not feel like it should cost that much? You know why they're doing it? Because Sony. That's why. Like, let's call a spade a spade. And these same people, they have no problem telling you they don't see the value in Game Pass because there's nothing there for them. But if, God forbid, if you say, hey, I don't think this is worth $70, how dare you? Just don't buy it. Just shut up. So I will say what I said last week. How about you shut up?
Oh, boy.
And lick the corporate boot and buy it for whatever they charge you, and let us try to get a better price for everybody. Let us complain about it. Let them hear that, and you shut the F up. I
think the issue they're going to have here is, and again, they're trying to cater to a new audience of people that haven't played Last of Us Part 1, but the fact that the vast majority of people, even newcomers that had a PlayStation 4 and came out for PlayStation 5, have already played the remaster on PlayStation. And it wasn't, and again, the point that a lot of people are making is it isn't that old. Like, it is a decade old. It sounds like a long way, but a decade is literally just last gen.
Yep. Yeah, and you can actually even play this game today on your new console today. It's not like, oh, we have no way of playing it, bring it back. No, it's very accessible.
If you want to play Part 1, you can go and buy Part 1. Yeah.
That's right. And play it on your shiny new PS5. You can do that today. It's available right there.
And it still looks good. Like, the original still looks good. You can still play all the way through it. It's still a great game. There's a reason it had the masterpiece status because of the storytelling and the story that you went through with originally and everything that came along with it. But that second one.
So say we all, Slomo. So say we all. But continue. Yeah.
It's a case of people. It's not like this game isn't available to purchase. Like, people can go out now and play it, and the vast majority of people have played the game.
Yes.
Which is an issue, I think, from a sales perspective, because you're trying to sell it as if it's a new title, and it's not a new title. It's not even a game that people haven't played, because it was like 20 million copies of the original one sold or something ridiculous. So the vast majority of people who wanted to play the game have played the game, and the new people who are going to play the game, this new generation of gamers, the vast majority of that new generation gamer now wants that battle royale multiplayer FPS shooter. They want that stuff. They don't care about no single player game like this. The new age gamer, for the most part, there is the outliers that like the single player games, but it's a different crowd now than what it was.
Well, Dutch, let me ask you a question though.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't Sony charge this price? You got a bunch of people that are ready to bend over backwards, right? No Vaseline, no lube. Don't buy them a drink first. Don't take them out to dinner. Just call them up 2 o'clock in the morning and say, "Come through."
It's straightforward.
Right?
It's straightforward. They've remastered. This is the second time they've revisited this game now. They had the original launch. They remastered that original game onto the PlayStation 4 with a PlayStation 4 Pro enhancement, which knocked it up to 4K with HDR. And then they added additionals to that. They went on then to do this remake of the remaster of the original. So it's a 3 times over now. Third time down the line, you're still charging full price for the game. It's just a case of common sense. Like, if you want this actual game to sell, then sell it at 50, like Miles Morales.
But that's the game's gonna sell because.
But do you think it's gonna sell? Do you think it's gonna sell better at a higher price, or do you think it's gonna sell better at a lower price?
Okay, sorry. I'm talking to the Twitter.
No. Hold on.
Clarify.
Give me just a minute. Give me just a moment. I promise, Mr. Everborn, I will let you go, but I think we need to understand what we're talking about here, right? I hear you on PlayStation can sell for whatever they want. My point is not about PlayStation selling or not selling for whatever they want. My point is, why are we allowing them to dictate terms? Because in doing so, that's where we are now. Look, that's why you're seeing the $70 game. Can they sell it? They can sell it for whatever they want, right? They can. This is them determining the price. A free market economy. They can sell whatever they want at whatever price they want. But it's up to you and me to say that it's okay or not to keep allowing that to continue. We're busy, like so much of us are busy debating on whether or not, looking in each other's pockets and saying, what, you can't afford it? What? Whether you can afford it or not is not the point. The point is, it is not justifiable. And as long as we can agree on the fact that it's not justifiable, they will continue to ratchet up that price. Remember, Everborn, we talked about this last week. Hey, okay, all the prices are rising. Oh yeah, inflation. Okay, so from now on, Xbox games are $70. From now on, let's have that thought experiment.
I fully expect that to happen. I do want to be clear about that.
Yes, they're $70. Great. Does that mean then we now expect to see PlayStation games go to 80? Because they're greatness, right?
Well, here's the thing. I always joke. I say charge them more, but you are being charged more. This is it.
Right.
This is happening.
That's what this is.
It looks like.
Yes.
Right. So I want to ask, how soon will you take a Ghost of Tsushima remake for the same game?
I have the PS3 version too. I have the 3 and the 4, and now they want me to buy the 5. Yeah.
So when they when they come in 2023 and they bring out Ghost of Tsushima again and they tell you it's $70 with some PS5 upgrades, is that cool? Right? Yeah. So, and I'm gonna tell you, the people are gonna say yes, and I think this will work, because anytime somebody says something about it, they get shouted down. So what are they being told?
Exactly.
That, hey,
and that's why Slomo's comment here is my humble opinion. I agree with you, Slow, but because the marketing arm is so well, and because they've built up the political capital that they can spend, they can now make it justifiable, because they're selling greatness, and they have all these PR interns ready to jump down anyone's throat who has any issue with it. So because of that, we will find ourselves in a place where all prices rise, because The market will determine, and they have lots of resources making sure they twist the knife on your brain, just like they do with Instagram and all them. Make sure the right colors pop so they keep you subscribed and keep you doing it. They're gonna keep you, and not you. I mean the environmental you, all of us, in speaking their language for them.
I think Spider-Man 2 should be $85. That's what they should charge for.
To Slomo's point regarding Apple products, they are overpriced anyway.
They always were. They
always were, always are, always will be. I mean, they're the same guys that charge $600 or something.
And that is the reason why, Mr. Slomo Backslap, you'll see, like, those of us that know better, my big PC here runs Mac OS 10. Does it look like an Apple product? Hell no. Because we know, those that know that they just make the box nice and shiny, and they go, yeah, we're not like those heathens over there on Windows, when in fact the parts are exactly the same. They're just charging you for the big half-eaten apple. That's all they're charging you for. And they charge you twice the price for that half-eaten logo, even though inside of it, it's exactly the same. So,
that is why the entire Surface division exists, because they know people like to be separated from their money.
They know people like to be separated from the wallet. They like to gas you up, make you feel like you're special because you're buying the special one. And then at the end of the day, they're selling you the same ish that is sold to everyone else, but just twice the price because, the swoosh looks different on the Nike sneaker.
But like I say, based on the amount of work that they're putting in, if we're setting this as a baseline, then I think we logically have to charge more for Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine, because of the amount of work that Insomniac has to put in.
And it's not to say, like, listen, it's to your point as well, actually, Everborn. It's this game, unlike the other PlayStation first-party releases, which are in development for the best part of 5, 6, 7 years, this game has not been in development for 5, 6, or 7 years. Mm-hmm. This game has not had the ground-up build like a $70 title, again, which is up for debate anyway, whether or not you want to pay $70 for a game. But this has not had the same amount of work as a ground-up title has.
True, absolutely.
For the same price. And that is the bottom end. It is, yes, it's a ground-up rebuild. Yeah, but it's the same assets in a different engine. Still the same game. Still plays the same. The story's the same. There is no difference to the story. It plays out exactly the same way. You're just paying a launch price for a game that's been out for a while.
And shout out to Biggie Butters. I appreciate you being here, sir. I disagree with your take on this because this is how they're separating us. If I am not concerned with what other gamers pay for their games, that means I'll be in my own world, just playing my game. And before long, when you look up, everything will be far more expensive because had you held your hands of your brother and your sister to say to these corporations, hey, this far and no further, because this is absolutely ridiculous, maybe those prices would have stayed the same. And every time we've done that in the past, you've seen good results from it. But sticking this way and not yes, it's true, I can afford it, but that's not the point. It should be justifiable from everyone's perspective. And if we stick close in our head, put our heads in the sand and only worry about our pockets, before long you look around and the gaming community will be dispersed because they're basically like separating us by a caste, if you will, by how much you can afford, and that's not how it should be, in my humble opinion.
When I first heard this game was announced, I thought it was actually completely rebuilt in the Last of Us 2 engine, and they would upgrade all the combat, which they have not done.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot to just saying, okay, we're using the models and the rendering engine. What about the rest of it? And if it was going to be as complex as The Last of Us 2, when I first heard about it, I said, I'm going to get it.
Yep.
Right? Yep. Because they completely made it over as though it was Last of Us 2, so it could go hand in hand. But that's not
if
really
that was the case, then it would be more justifiable. It is definitely not the case.
And that is what I would have considered a remake, but this is not fully that. This is a reskin.
And shout out to Risky for the biscuit. Thank you, sir, for being here. And one day I have to have you back on this show and talk about prices in your neck of the woods in Australia. This is the have and have nots economy. Exactly what I'm trying to rail against, right? Yes, I can afford it. I buy a lot of frivolous, ridiculous things that I shouldn't be spending my money on. I get that. But I still feel bad because if we allow this to continue, your baseline will become $100 for a game. Why? Because there is no justifiable reason to go to 70. And if that is allowed, it'll just keep going higher and higher. And it won't translate to better games. It just translates to deeper pockets for those who want your money. And that's the issue here, right? I am not for not paying more for good games. 100% I am. But show me where that effort is going. Show me where that attention is being paid. Don't literally take everything to its wireframe, put new shiny aesthetics on the exact same game, and charge me more for it. Because that's what this looks like. They basically wireframed the original game and put Last of Us 2 aesthetics on top and went, here you go, new game. That is not justifiable, in my humble opinion. Am I wrong, everybody? Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, so Slomo says he's looking for accuracy. So the thing is, like your game mechanics are part of the engine you build.
That's right.
Right? Like, so they do go hand in hand. And I'm saying, if we are, and I don't think I'm changing my definition of what I think a remake is. I think the problem is everyone has their own definition, right? Also, I don't like the term cash grab because I think every piece of commercial art is a cash grab. If you go to the Sistine Chapel where Michelangelo painted the ceiling, that was a cash grab. They were paid for it.
But okay, let's be fair to the determination.
Anything released for sale is a cash grab. Everybody wants to make money off what they do. That's not what this is about. Cash grab,
it's not about just. I hear the sentiment of cash grab, and to my understanding, and please correct me, Mr. Inferno Games, if I'm wrong here. What he means by cash grab is your first outing to try and show your game to the public. That is you earnestly, hey, here's my game. I hope you guys like it, and that's it. But if you change a T, cross an I, just a little bit of a skew, and then give it again at the same price, you're literally saying, oh, you've already bought this, but buy it again. Look, we've changed just the bare minimum. That is cash grab.
Also, by the way, I just want to point out that because I drive a Model 3, I am obligated to buy this because you are supposed to buy every game at whatever price, depending on what car you drive.
I will say the kings of cash grab, though, are definitely still Call of Duty for their next-gen version.
True. You know,
next gen upgrade tax where you have to buy both versions to get the next-gen version is just obscene.
Absolutely.
That's like $80 or something ridiculous, like £90 or something stupid for the next-gen version of Call. It's like, absolutely not. I am not doing that.
Yeah, and again, for the new people that are coming in, I see Big Cloud in the chat. What's happening?
Yeah, shout out to Big Cloud.
This is not about the game being $70, and I really don't understand the don't buy it. Obviously, that goes without saying. If you see value in something, you're going to buy it.
That's
but
right.
It's just super weird idea to me that we're no longer allowed to question anything a company does.
Yep.
Right?
Quick aside. Because of reasons which we can all agree, we're adults in this room, right? We can all agree gas prices are going up. If you drive a car, you're paying higher gas prices. Even food that you buy are going up. Why? Because of reasons. Because of the way the world is working, unfortunately, these days, right? Shout out to the folks in Ukraine. I hope they're staying safe. Who is on Twitter right now going, hey, man, you don't like it, just don't drive. Oh, you know, it's inflation. Oh, you know, it's a sign of the... Who will open their mouth and say something so stupid? Is it all going up? Of course it is going up. Must we justify it? Must we stand behind the people who are causing it and saying, yeah, they're doing it because it's supposed to be done that way? It's just the way. Obviously, prices are going up. Obviously, we can't control it. But the fact, and that's not the part that's upsetting, the fact that our community members, people like us, who we should be standing hand in hand going, yo, what y'all doing right there, that's just terrible. That needs to change. Instead, we're justifying it within our own ranks to the point where it becomes solidified, right? Last point. Who now remembers a world where before 9/11 you used to fly in planes and they'd give you whatever you wanted? It was a beautiful situation. And now post 9/11, even though 9/11 is now a distant, sad memory, right? All those corner cutting ways are now solidified.
Okay, so
of a plane because we justified that.
There's two things. There's two things I want to address here. So, firstly, Slomo made a comment. They would have needed to redesign some of the areas in order to add gameplay. How dare we ask them to redesign some of the areas?
How dare we? To make it worth the $70 they're asking for. How dare we ask for that?
Exactly. My God. Yep. Right. So then, Gabe. So the thing is, he's saying let's not compare video game prices to game prices. Sure, let's not do that. Gabe, have you ever complained about in-app purchases or microtransactions? Ever once? Have you ever said, "Oh my God, they're charging too much to do this and it's play to win and all that"?
Yep.
Right. So people see that and they can complain about it. We need to understand that the only reason we're having this conversation is because people love Sony.
Yes.
And if Activision did this or if Ubisoft did this, everybody would say, hold up, hold on.
Oh, I'm waiting for the day after. I'm waiting for the day after the Activision Blizzard deal is solid with Microsoft for people to come out the woodwork and go, okay, Microsoft, you charging too much for these prices. What's going on with all your microtransactions? Because now
I'm telling you right now, I think that Microsoft is going to raise their base price to 70.
Oh, of course
the reason they haven't done that yet is because they haven't had the games to warrant it.
Yeah.
When Starfield comes out and Diablo, it'll be first party by them.
When they do that, their narrative will be, look, inflation. They'll literally take your narrative and twist it on and show it to you, and then they'll go, if you don't like it, Game Pass, and then walk off. That's what they can do. And when you do that, as much as we'll be angry, we'll go, yeah, I guess they have a point, and that's where that'll go, right? So that's what they will do when the time comes.
So this is the thing. There's nothing wrong, right? If you go and you buy a refrigerator from Sears or wherever you buy appliances from these days, and you say, hey, this price is too much. What's wrong with people complaining about a price? Unless you care about defending the company's honor. And I would just argue that we don't do that for any place else but video games.
Yes.
Nobody will stop you when you say the price of anything is too high, except for when it comes to, what their favorite company is charging.
And shout out to Amblix. Absolutely right. It'll still launch on Steam 25% off, right? Which is the real, seriously, because as much as people stand arm in arm and they defend and this and that, PC gamers are sitting there just laughing their asses off at you. Because at the end of the day, they know that they don't mess with PC gamers. They don't mess with the PC crowd. You want to charge $70? Go ahead. Jack Sparrow will be out in force and you will regret your decision. So they always go, yeah, we'll spin our narrative on the console players, but the PC players who don't seem to talk to console players for some reason, yeah, they get the real discount. That'll be like $40 when it comes out. Whereas Spider-Man will end up being $70 for those plebes who don't see it or don't recognize what's really going on. Or this is more a conversation among us, because we need to stop having conversations among us, get to the same page on the fact that if you ever want these prices to solidify, you need to recognize that they're looking at you. They're watching you. They're listening to what you're saying. And because of that, they're going, yeah, ratchet it up, man. We're greatness. Haven't you heard? It's justifiable. We are greatness. So how far are you going to defend before you go, yeah, this $150 remake is not hot? Is that where you draw the line? Where do you draw the line on greatness? This is my question. This is my question. This is my question from jump.
I really just want people to understand what the discussion is about. If you might be okay with paying anything for a game, right?
Yeah.
If people are complaining about a price, let them complain. Let the companies hear that. every time we get together and we say, hey, company X, what you're doing is effed up, and they see that, and because they're afraid of a PR nightmare, they change course over a week.
Immediately.
That's Sony, that's Microsoft, except for Nintendo. But the point is, everybody listens to these things, but if the majority of us are super fans and we're just saying, no, the price is justified, how dare you question them, then why shouldn't they raise their price?
Exactly.
If you start coming in saying, look what they did here and look at all the little things they did, you don't do that anywhere else. You're doing it here, and you know why you're doing it here. And I don't think we will ever get past this until everybody raises their price, meaning when Microsoft starts charging you $70 for stuff like this, but
honestly, and I hear you on the prices, do we must be what happens before people learn? Like, really, we must. Like, I hear you, and you're
look at people, right? Once we are in the same boat, and there's not an, because this, let me break this down to its simplest form, right? If I am in the console warring streets, right, it's a war of attrition. I cannot give the other side a victory. So any point of distinction, meaning any difference in what business models or technology or whatever it is, I have to say that is the best. So we can fight over those differences, and we can say the way that my favorite company does it is the best, and the way your favorite company does it is the worst.
While you're doing that back and forth battle, Mr. Joanna Dark is getting Final Fantasy Remake Integrate for $35 on PC. But continue.
Enjoy those bugs.
But you understand.
No. But what I'm saying is, when there's no point of distinction, meaning everyone's in the same boat, then people will get together. Because as long as there's a difference on the Xbox side, you have people that want to get a victory and say, oh, Microsoft isn't cheating you out of things, and Microsoft is consumer friendly, and this, that, and the third. And look how, and then on the Sony side, you don't want to give them the victory or acknowledge anything that they're saying. So you'll say, no, I'm paying for quality. If you don't like it, don't buy it. All these things you're going to say because you can't let the other side get a victory. So if everyone is together in believing that everybody's prices got raised, and we don't believe that the price increase is justified, then they will see something and they will say something. But people are arguing in favor of $70 games, and it's not. And Activision did it first, but nobody was coming to Activision's side when Activision raised the price. It is people didn't start coming to the side.
We don't want it to seem. Hold on. This is important. This is important, everyone. This is important, everyone. Not to seem that we're a bunch of Xbox folks here railing against this pricing. Welcome, BitCloud Gaming. Thank you, sir. What is your take, sir? Please tell us we are wrong. Tell us we are ridiculous. I want to hear it. I want a genuine take.
Oh, Drew know what I'm about to say. He watched the video on loop.
Of course I did.
You know what I'm about to say. All right, so I feel like I'm in a twilight zone or some real. Like the past 48, really 72 hours have been rough. For example, just to show you how deep this rabbit hole has fallen, you have dudes on Twitter saying, "Well, he's 40 years old. He shouldn't be crawling, or proning, or dodging." Excuse me.
So did they justify that in Last of Us 2 when a sub 19-year-old was murking fools left and right like Rambo? Like
did they say that? Did they say, "Oh, that's exclusive to a little girl"?
Joel has a lower disc problem in his back and he can't really move in this way. So it's part of the story you have to understand.
Here's where that logic falls completely on his face. I'm pretty sure every last one of you guys, especially in the chat, know about this game. It's one of the greatest games of all time from Hideo Kojima. Metal Gear Solid 4. Guns of the Patriots. How old is Snape in that game? Or Snake in that game?
Yeah. Is it like
that destroys 60? Like 60 years old. Oh my god! Hey, Slomo, get
Slomo.
Slomo want a link? Get Slomo the link too, because he needed to. Because there's so much going on that blows my mind. It's been nonstop. It's been a constant thing. And then you guys do saying, "Oh, you guys are stupid. You guys are believing a leaker." Okay, now I did a video on this first. I was okay. Yeah, you know what? I was on that side at first. I'm like, why are we giving this guy a voice? He hasn't shown proof. You know what I mean? You're just giving a platform to somebody who's making bold claims. Then this dude drops the build. He drops the controller layout. And at that point, it's like, okay, well, not only do we owe this dude an apology, this dude just removed the veil from a lot of people's eyes. But they're like, nah, that's an old build. Now, I never thought I'd see that too. Dude's asking, what build is this? But if there's an Xbox, what build is this? But if it was an Xbox title, it would be like, they would have took it as is. Oh, this is terrible. It's trash, but because it's Naughty Dog. What build is this? Yeah. We want builds.
Remember when the Redfall stuff leaked?
Oh, I know. I've seen it all. I actually got to talk to Queen. Yeah, we got to talk to Queen Navi not too long ago about that. Interview her not too long ago, and she was cool. But even going back to that, they're like, let's see the build, bro. Like, what version is this? I'm looking at this. I'm like, you do realize it doesn't matter what build it is because we are less than a month and some change away from release date. The game's already gold. What you see in this build in terms of gameplay is what you're going to get. This is what cracks me up when people talk like they know anything about PCs or how these consoles or how these games work. When a build is in beta or alpha form, that is what you are getting base value, and everything else you're going to see after that is just going to be polished and pushed. That's it. So when I see dudes on Twitter,
quick aside, I apologize, my audience. We really had to just go all out. We're getting slanderous today. Slomo Backslap.
There you go. There you go. My brother Slomo. My brother Slomo. You already know. But going back to this, going back to the polish and everything, I see dudes on Twitter. See, the leaks were wrong. The first thing I did was facepalm. How did they get proven wrong with the leaks? In the video deep dive, they didn't even want to show all gameplay. They were showing snippets. They were very selective of what they were showing. That just goes to show that it doesn't have anything. And then when you go back to the article that built the hype train around this game, because at first we all called it out. We was like, okay, why are we remaking this OG game? Right? And then they start saying, it's going to have modernized gameplay. Modernized gameplay is going to be rebuilt from the ground up. It's a full-fledged remake. Keyword, remake. Not a remaster, not rebuilt. It's remake. Complete remake. Mm-hmm. So when you have that and they said it's going to be using all the assets of the engine for part 2, you already knew what to expect. You already knew what your expectations were going to put you in. Dude's like, oh, no, I didn't expect to have a prone or a dodge mechanic. Okay, even they didn't throw prone into the game. Let's say they didn't throw prone in the game. You mean to tell me you couldn't throw a dodge mechanic into this game to elevate it? You mean to tell me you couldn't throw faction?
You know what I'm saying?
Like
that would require re-engineering.
Would have required them to actually change the aspect of the world. But dodge, dodge.
Dodge is something simple. It's not like it breaks the combat to have a dodge system.
But and again, also, you don't want to. If you start digging through the crates on one mechanic, you might as well really go full bore on the whole thing, because then when it comes out, they'll go, "What, you added dodge, but you couldn't add the whole thing in there, right?" It's a slippery slope. So either you change everything.
Well, it's already a slippery slope, Kay, because they brought in the Last of Us Part 2 AI.
Yes,
and the changes to the companions AI, but they didn't do anything else. So we're already at that conversation where we're like, why didn't you add this? Why didn't you add that? So if they either should have went all or nothing, you just don't add any of the stuff in it and let Ellie just be standing there all out in the open while the clickers are doing a little dance around her.
Or am I wrong?
You actually,
one thing I noticed as well, Asante, if you scroll back a little bit where he's giving his passport to the security guard.
Yep.
Does that not look like the identical model to Joel?
Yeah,
used for the security guard is
first. Yeah. That's what I was gonna. That's the question I was gonna ask. Am I wrong, or in order to shoehorn him in?
Look at that.
Yeah, it does look like Joel.
They didn't have the actors redo their mocap. Yeah. They said what they did was
they simply took the
advanced
files.
They took the same files and they took the advanced mocap that they with the technology that's been advanced for The Last of Us Part 2, and then redid it over the mocap work that was already done. Yeah. So that's why the actual animation looks exactly the same.
Please correct me if I'm wrong here, but doesn't it look like in certain instances they almost sacrifice some of part 1 in order to shoehorn this part 2 stuff in. Like in certain scenes where you have the whole city escaping, but in order to make it shiny and new, they removed all the NPCs there just to make that one. Like it seems like it regressed in quality rather than increasing in quality in certain instances.
Yeah, like it's a give and take when you push a game like this to another level. And again, like you're going for style over substance, and that's where the real issue is with this game. If this would have had factions, Slomo, everybody, we probably wouldn't bat an eyelash at this because okay, you're getting factions, you're getting everything, getting the full product, just with a prettier slab.
We would have clowned a little bit because come on,
clowned them. Yeah, would have clowned them.
That's neither here nor there.
Yeah, but here's what you're thinking. You're not even getting that. You're not getting that. And on top of that, you're not even getting part 2. Now, wouldn't it make sense logically, since you're not going to go all out, why not just call this the definitive edition? And then you have part 2 be bundled in this as well, and you have the full thing. Because sooner or later, part 2 is going to go to PC.
Like they did when you do that, won't people go, why are you charging me for the definitive edition when I've already bought it?
Exactly.
They would. No, they wouldn't.
Oh,
you know they wouldn't. They wouldn't.
No, someone, yeah. Someone.
I mean, let's keep it buck. Let's keep it the buck, man. Like when I said in the chat they should charge $90, I wasn't even joking. I'm dead serious. When I brought the Apple comparison before, we all talk about, hey, look, like people don't understand, like, Apple really ain't doing nothing special. Of course, I know that, right? Yeah. But what do? They still way outside in the rain. Outside the Apple store, whenever the new iPhone comes out, that new piece of trash with a shiny package, they do it anyway. And I don't blame Apple for charging them like nearly $2,000 for a cell phone that's a piece of trash, because why not? They're gonna buy it. Yeah, so like, I see it no different for Sony. I don't agree with it, but I'm like, hey, shoot, charge them $90.
In other words,
you believe you and Everborn are on the same page on this one right here. Just so you know,
we are.
Y'all are 100% on the same
for
page.
the first time ever.
I take it all back because
I mean, Slomo, I never saw so many hoops. I know you saw that post where Erica responded to a dude saying like, "Oh, he's 40. He shouldn't be going prone. He should be." I'm like, dude,
41 years old.
I'm like,
I can do a cartwheel right now. Okay, so don't tell me I can't go lie on the ground and crawl around out here, man.
It didn't. Here's the thing that blew me away.
A few old man noises in there. It's fine. Just
mute any sound, okay? Because it's probably gonna sound like a goat dying, but I can get that cartwheel done.
That's right.
What killed me though, as you guys seen, you see new animations here to make it look more seamless as they turn around corners like that, right? Yeah. What kills me is that, like, if you read the article, the actual blog on PlayStation.com, remember they went from the original one that said that it was going to have modernized gameplay, all that stuff. Now they said, oh, we completely overhauled it. So they changed the wording altogether, and it didn't even say remake in the beginning of this video. It said rebuilt from the ground up. It didn't even say remake because they knew what they were trying to do. But if they really overhauled everything, don't you think we would have new animations? Why we still have the same animations?
Yeah.
People don't think, and people know this. This is the thing. People know this, but they refuse to call it out. They don't want to hold them accountable. They want to say, "Oh, it's Naughty Dog." And I had so many people in my comments saying, "Well, all this bickering about it is pointless. It's childish. How much I just don't buy it." I'm like, if this was Xbox, y'all be doing like 15 podcasts about this. This is Xbox. We have like 15 Twitter spaces about this. What exactly are we doing, and what standard are we setting by not calling out something that is clearly unethical right now? For us to be paying $70 for something we already paid for. And mind you, I had people throw out the excuse, well, if you want factions, go play the remaster version that's free for PlayStation Plus user. Again, why would I go back and play the inferior version when we got a brand new shiny package that's being thrown at us for $70? That's faster and much more going on.
Mr. Dark is cluing us in on the Ultimate Platinum Collection Edition coming out in 2024, where all of it will be put together for the low price of $80. Yeah, I'm sure.
It blows my mind. It blows my mind how stupid this is. And then they want to go, oh, well, again, you got this. Why are you complaining about it? Dude, I played this game not once, but twice. I platinumed this game not once, but twice. You really think I'm going to platinum this again for $70 in this shape right now? And dude's like, oh, you're going to buy it? The hell I am going to buy this. I'm not. I said it loud and clear. Dudes got mad because I said I'm not buying this. I don't care I'm getting sick and tired. People act like we gotta be part of. We have to share the same mindset to be part of a club.
And let's be clear here, though. And please, guys, tell me if I'm wrong. You can tell me. I don't mind the console war stuff. I don't mind the back and forth. It's fun.
Mind it. I mind console war stuff.
Well, but here's where the line needs to be drawn, though.
It's terrible.
That's the thing. The line needs to be drawn on serious matters of separating you from your money, right? Yeah. You can console war all day and it's fun and games and this and that. But if it's so to the point where you cannot accept the fact that this will take more money from your own pocket than it should, but if you admit it, then that means you're giving the other side a W that they don't deserve, in your opinion. You need to get your brain checked, because that's a problem.
And here's the funny thing about this too. Now, maybe a lot of people would have given this a pass if this was Last of Us Part 2, maybe, because it didn't have none of that stuff. But here's the thing: this is Part 1. Part 1 is significantly short compared to 2. Oh, yeah, it's not a long game.
Let's be honest. Part 2 was long as hell, man.
Yeah, I'm saying you got a lot of content. That's what I'm saying. People wouldn't complain about 2 because there's a lot of content with terms of story and what you can do in that game. Part 1 is it was very bare bones for the most part, aside from a few things you did. It was mostly relying on stealth, get from point A to point B.
It got you the way you needed to go in the story. There was not much else fluff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I do think Part 1 was a better story, but I think Part 1 was a better story more so because I've said this before about Part 2. I think the structure of the story of Part 2 wasn't the best. Like I didn't how they kept going back and forth between Ellie and Abby. I felt like they should have did it per day, because then when we did the whole 3 days with Ellie and then we saw all these people get killed, then you do the 3 days with Abby and you're talking to corpses. I'm like there's no shock and awe when Abby is having this long drawn out love triangle with two people they're already dead. So it was just they should have just made it so that Ellie day 1, then Abby day 1. It would have built up that. Would have built up the Part 2 day 3 where everyone's dying and everybody would be like, "Oh wow, you get head blown." But I think the way they did it was wrong.
And let's get absolutely clear here. For those who haven't really experienced this game is worthy of experience. We're not saying that you shouldn't Everborn. Am I mistaken? This will be your first time playing it in this way, right? You haven't played the OG versions, right?
Yeah, like I said, when this was first announced, I said, for me, I will get this because I haven't played it before.
Yeah.
No shade at all. Yes, this is the version.
All the shade in the world. I just said spoilers. I forgot this Everborn fraud over here hadn't played the game yet.
So by the time he gets to it, he would have forgotten everything you just said anyway. Don't even.
I wasn't even listening to Slomo talk, to be honest.
Oh man,
but that's normal. He never listens to me, which is why he says he tweets stuff out like I should have listened to Slomo like he did earlier this week.
Yeah, I saw that.
No, that was about.
I was like, oh boy,
that was about staying out of spaces. I go back for you.
See, this situation benefits you, Everborn, for sure. This package, it definitely benefits you because you never played the originals, which is fine. I mean, if you ever played the originals, now you get to play it in the best quality we've ever seen it. So that's great. That's good for you. You're gonna enjoy. You're gonna love the hell out of it.
What'll be interesting is after he plays the first and the second in this new engine, I'll want to hear his take on how it feels, because there'll still be a big difference between the first and the second, even though they look the same. Right? Go ahead, Bit.
Yeah, drastically. But my thing is this though. To the people who are all of a sudden trying to use the Last of Us remaster excuse for this game, saying, "Oh, it's for new people in general," we can't use that excuse. See, we use that excuse with the PS4 gen, and it makes logical sense. A lot of people who jump from the 360 never experienced Last of Us. And when we saw it drop to the PS4, we saw a significant increase in sales and demand for Part 2 because there was a lot of new faces jump into Part 2 or Part 1 from the 360. Now we're going into a remake of a first game that already got a remaster. Again, it's not even like a retelling. It's the same story with a prettier slab of paint.
Yep,
that's it.
Literally,
that's literally it. There's nothing else to this game that screams, yes, that is $70. They cut content out with factions, right? And then dudes are saying, well, we got factions next year. Why the hell should I have to wait till next year to play factions? And then I even threw this out here. Let's say if it's not free to play, what if they bundle factions with this down the road and they try to charge you even more? Ultimate Edition.
Yeah.
Faction's going to be $70. You know that, right?
Bro, if that's $70,
it won't even be
$70, I will my brain
something else, and it's going to be $70. You already know it.
It's either going to be $70 or it's going to be free to play with a hell of a lot of microtransactions.
A hell of a lot of microtransactions.
Yeah, they're gonna make their money back for sure. But because they're already talking about it's going to have new characters, it's going to feature new characters in general. So and it's going to have its own standalone story. So I don't know, man. I really don't. I really don't know.
Hey, look, man, I am all for people. Corporations, whether they be big or small, making their money. Go ahead and charge them. You know they're going to pay. Charge them $70 for something that should have been in the original game in the first place. Go ahead.
You remember that movie? Remember that movie Matilda, Slomo? What the father say? There's a sucker born every minute. We're gonna take it for all they got. That's literally their mindset right now. There is people damage controlling for this to like links I never seen before. Dudes like going, "Oh, y'all don't know what the difference between a remake, a remaster, and a reimagining." I'm like, they didn't say reimagine, said remake. What we talking about reimagining?
And this is what I'm trying to fight against. People. You gotta stop. Don't count yourself among the suckers column, because if you're justifying this, you are definitely one of those. Like, come on, we're all gamers here. Doesn't matter where you play. You want value for your dollar. Why the hell is this even a conversation among us?
Yeah.
Why? I don't understand. I just don't.
Oh, Joanna Dark, big facts. A Windows phone is better than an iPhone. Absolutely.
Okay. Y'all need to, although I don't disagree with you, y'all need to calm down.
Hey, look, man. Apple
man is telling the truth.
Hey, Joe.
Although I don't disagree,
Jay,
y'all need to throw the role.
J Mo Money made a good point. He made a good. He actually made a good point. He said, "Do you think it would outsell Part 2?" Part 2, despite all the leaks, because the leaks pretty much killed the sales of that game, or its potential crazier reach was the leaks. But if I remember correctly, this game got leaked too, so they know what they're getting.
This one sold. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Part 2 sold 10 million, right?
Yeah, so 10 million. Yeah. Part 1 sold over 20, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's right.
over 20.
I can't see this Last of Us remake selling more than 10 million. I don't know why.
I can see that at 5, maybe 4 at this rate, because of the leaks. Everybody, because the real reason, again, the real bread and butter that was going to sell this past 10 million was going to be the fact that it had a prone or at least a dodge mechanic. It was going to be legit, take a full use, because we know they said this is our true vision of what they envisioned the game to be. That immediately was like, okay, let's get it. You know what I mean? Let's get it. Let's
in the new one.
Right.
You're gonna put all that advanced interaction.
Right.
None of that happened. It's just a nice coat of paint on the same old wireframe game.
And then dudes are like, "Oh, well, you guys expected too much. Y'all wrong. Y'all killed your own hype and expectation for expecting more." But I'm like, aren't y'all the same dudes that was expecting Abby scenes to be thrown into this game? But we expecting too much, right?
And besides,
stop.
Too much.
Like, stop.
It's
like, stop. Exactly. It's like, stop. Don't ever come
although, I wouldn't mind if they cleaned up the whole doctor issue with Joel. Like, I want that doctor to grab his scalpel and just like rush Joel and be like, "For Abby," as he says it, so put that to rest.
like what Joanna Darks is saying right here, where he's saying like, "Oh, they're adding accessibility settings as a reason for the price jump." Listen, the accessibility options are great. That is great for people who are, especially that's
like saying we're adding a remote to your TV, so we're charging you more. Nah, it should come with a remote, and it should be charged more. That's the standard fare.
Yeah, that's cool. Even the new one, they're very proud of, where like it narrates, like you'll say Joel's laying down, the watch is cracked. So that's cool for people who are blind, so you can share it with somebody. That's cool. That's right, but again, this is not enough for
these are features that you should in the modern day expect to be in games though.
In every game,
you should be quantifying as paying extra for. Like it's like saying somebody with a disability needs to pay more money. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely.
That should be added in quietly, so people don't recognize that you left that out in the first place. It should be something you proudly put in to say, "Hey, our game is accessible to more people." Not, "Oh, if you blind, you have some accessibility features that you need. Well, how about some more money?" Like, come on now.
Yeah,
come on.
That's absolutely.
No, and you're gonna get them people that have played the like we have played the remastered version on PlayStation 4 that are gonna go into stores and they're gonna be like, "Oh, the new Last of Us is out." They're like, "Oh, which one?" The first one. I've already played the first one. So what's different with this one? Oh, it's a remake. Is the story?
It looks shiny.
Yes.
Exactly. They'll be like, no, it has a new shinier coat of paint. Oh, does it have new gameplay mechanics? No. Oh, I guess I'll skip it.
Yeah.
I would just like to preach to the choir for a moment, if you guys would allow me.
Go ahead.
Because I say, don't ask how come or why come the player mechanics wasn't updated. No. I say, don't ask where the NPCs went. I say, don't ask why you didn't do any other upgrades.
Just give the money.
Preach.
Just give the money.
Just give him the money. You've broken the show. It's broken. It's gone. It's done. It's over.
It's just too much capping. I've seen for this. Me and Jack Move dudes was coming at me and Jack Move over this. I had Jack Move on the show yesterday. Shout out to Jack Move. Jack Move was going on a tirade, but the thing about Jack Move, and people don't understand about me and him used to legit, before I really pushed YouTube, I used to go at it with him to try to see who platinum this game first. Like it used to be like a race between me and this dude over this game. All right. The love I have for that game is the same. He has the same for it. When certain shots were shown, we knew that like it was nothing. Okay, I know what that is. I know what that scene is. You know what I mean? We know that game so well.
In and out.
And I'm looking at these scenes. I'm like, okay, so dude's talking about we can't add a pro mechanic, but yet they added extra vegetation that can easily hide Joel in a lot of shots. A lot of those, the same buildings, they got extended or whatnot. But it's like, again,
well, I mean, Ryan, look, I'm not trying to defend them. I'm just like, again, like I was saying, when it comes to accuracy, you can't just be like, oh, well, there's vegetation, therefore you could add prone anywhere, because there's a lot of parts of the game where you're like inside buildings and stuff.
It's also cars.
It's like, you'll need to find like certain ways where, like, say you add a table in here and there where you can go like under a table and things like that. Like they would have to kind of change the environment a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of say like I would liken it to a game like say like Gears of War, right? If you added a new gameplay mechanic to Gears of War, it would change the way some of the kill.
It would change the balance. It would change a lot of fundamentals that you would then have to account for. Of course. But that's what would then justify the price they're asking if they actually took the time and did that work. Because literally, and I'm being derivative 100% when I say this, I know that. But literally what they're doing here is going down to the wireframe and rebuilding with new engine aesthetic. That's it. That's nothing else is changing, right? So the first character couldn't prone. It's not proning now.
Yeah, Gabe's question in chat as well was, so what is the best way to voice your concerns as a community? The only way is with your wallet. The only way, because if you voice a concern, that this isn't worth it, but then go out and buy it anyway, your argument is null and void immediately. If you're not buying it and the sales are taking a dip, then the price is going to come down to its original price.
Yeah. And also, and I will add the don't buy it. I will add another caveat to that. When your brother and or sister is out there in the digital picket signs saying this is bad, don't be quick to shoot them down, because whether you are ready to do the good work or not, there are others doing that good work that will potentially affect your wallet later down the line. But if you're busy in your console war bag, this is why the prices keep creeping, because you're busy in your console war bag.
It don't matter. It don't matter. Just like these are the same dudes say, I'm okay with this game going to PC as long as it's not day and date, or as long as it's not a year.
And then it's on day and date.
And look at it. Look at the decrease and how quick these games start dropping. Slomo. How quick that goalpost go. Oh, well, these games are 4 years old, dropped in PC. Year later. This on PC. They're like, I'm gonna promise a year. It's so much.
It's gonna go to at least it's coming to PlayStation. But the thing
is, exactly. That remind me damn what was that movie? Bad Center. What do you say? Oh, what's 1 point? Like, literally, what's 1 year? Like come on, man.
It's all good.
But seriously, like when you have a look at that character model, why have they made him look far older in the first one?
I hear you on that, Dutch. It's like the original character when you first met him was young, and obviously they're in the.
He's had a hard life.
He had a hard rundown.
He's had a
now
very
all of a sudden
hard
he
life,
looks like he does in Last of Us 2 in 1, which is not earned.
Years later,
I will say the person who got the worst in terms of character models, I don't know what it is, but it's Tess.
Oh yeah, Tess definitely.
Tess looks rough. I don't know what they were thinking for her.
She looks beat up.
She looks rough, bro. I'm like, whoa, who thought that was a good idea with Tess?
One thing I do want to add to Gabe's question, I do think it's also important to publicly.
They also took away the firewood.
Take them to publicly speak about these things.
That's
yes,
right.
The dollar sales says something, but I think people spoke with their wallets on Returnal, which was a good game, a great game, but a lot of people didn't buy it. And I think that is because of the $70 price tag, and it was an unproven IP.
Well, not just that too. It's new IP, like you just said, but a lot of people are quick to cap. Like you notice all over Twitter, they'll say, "Oh, this game's going to do millions. I'm buying this day one. I'm all in." Oh, Big Claw, you're wrong for calling out this game and saying that they didn't do a good job of marketing. But yet, here I am interviewing the damn dude who did the sound design for the game, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Here I am having Housemarque representatives and employees watching me play the game. Right. But I'm wrong for calling that out.
And that's part of it. I think that's part of it, right? So, do not discount your voice and the voice that we have when we speak together, right? These companies are deathly afraid of PR nightmares, because if people start talking about it, guess what? Then IGN starts writing about it, right?
That's right.
Right. GameStop and everybody else, and then it becomes a story, and then CNN picks up these things. Because that's how these things happen. So your voice does matter, but and this is not just a Sony thing, right?
Yep.
Like if you want to say
it's everybody, 100%.
If you want to say it's fine for Xbox to not have no real first party titles in 2022,
then don't complain about next year. Don't complain about next year. Do not complain about next year.
So the point is, if
people have said that.
Yeah. Oh, there have been people who
it's
want
fine.
It's
fine.
Control.
You ain't see it. Some of the dudes like, oh, it's fine, dude. I mean, we got games. They'll eventually drop when they drop, but we're fine. I'm like, dude, stop with this damn coping. Stop it.
You don't like real games. We all play third parties anyway.
Yeah, exactly. We got third parties. We got Call of Duty dropping this year. We got this. We're fine on Xbox. I'm like, okay.
Hey, look, I like As Dust Falls, but come the freak on, man.
Don't worry, you got plenty coming.
Hey, that's a good game. Stop clowning that game. It's a good game.
What I'm trying to make is when we speak together, our voices become powerful. And as long as we are arguing with each other, these companies are going to do whatever they want. So
exactly
your money
my point.
is part of it, but your voice is important too.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And that's why I'm on here. We have a primarily PC gamers on here. We have primarily PlayStation gamers on here. I play all kinds of things. We can all be from different stripes, but we can all agree cash grabs are not hot, and we should all be able to say that together. Because when we do,
I thought you were going to say we can all agree that Sonic sucks. But go ahead, you're right.
Oh man,
this game of the year, calling it now.
When we do speak together in this way, we have a better ability to change things. Right? We do it respectfully, but we say it together rather than you just capping because you ain't got greatness. Because if that's the case, get ready for $90 games. Get ready for $100 games.
Oh,
how far must they push you?
It's gonna come. It's gonna come.
Right? How far must they push you before you look at your empty pocket and go, maybe I'm the idiot? Like, what's going on with you people? Like,
dude,
come
listen,
on.
Listen. Anything that saves you money is a bad thing. It's all about the corporation. It's all about them. I had dudes saying, "Oh, well, it's your fault for hyping yourselves up." Sony. You think Sony's gonna, allow you to rob them? Like defending the whole. I'm talking about when you buy into the premium, like you have to like pay what you owe to get into premium during that stuff.
Yeah.
Dudes defending that, saying, "Well, y'all thought Sony was gonna make you lose or was gonna let you steal money from them doing this." Just make sense. I'm like,
you're stealing money from them.
What?
That's what they're doing. You're stealing money. That's their rationale. You're stealing money from them.
Hey, listen.
This is
I
the
just
issue.
want to say we need to get together and support the shareholders.
See, these are the comments, and I was saying this early on the show. Like, we heard the Persona 5. If you have the last gen version, you're not getting the next gen version. These are the comments that came up with that. This is why I'm like, we need to do better, people. We need to do better, because if we don't, your pocket's going to get emptied, and whose fault will it be? your own. Like, what are we doing?
The major problem there, though, Asante, is that there is a collective number of people on Twitter that are intentionally saying something that they don't even agree with themselves, just to wind people up,
just to rob people up.
Yep.
These people believe that these are actually saying something factual when it's not. They're literally just taking the mick out of them all. They're running rings around them and having jokes and playing this toxicity line because it gets them clicks. But these people are on
me to talk about them on my show for sure.
Know that they're not they're not actually being truthful. They're just winding people up.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people there that are just for that, and they know that. They've got their names like Mr. Toxic and things like that, and we know who they are. They all do the same thing.
It's just funny to me. Like, and half these dudes think they speak for guys like us. Like, I'm doing what you guys are afraid to do. I'm calling people accountable. But I'm like, are you though? You call out one side and harass one side, but when it's in your camp, you go silent.
Yeah.
When the God of War directors are being sent, you know what picks for information for God of War. Oh, it's Xbox fans doing that. So it's not PlayStation. So it's not PlayStation fans doing that. Interesting, man. Okay. We don't have a track record. Slow know what I'm talking about. We don't have a track record of certain PlayStation fans doing that.
Do it. And all the while, we're not getting release dates. Clearly, it's not working for
that. So I know what I'm talking about. Dude, like some of y'all look stupid. I'm sorry. I can't.
All right. So Slow, I'll let you get the last word. Well, you were Everborn, so I haven't had y'all speak on it, but give me your last word there, Slow, and stop with the Sonic Suck stuff. We'll wait until Frontier comes out.
Okay. I will stop saying Sonic sucks.
Refrain until the game comes out.
It doesn't
suck,
next week. It's an embarrassment.
But no, look, I've always said this. I said that like value is it's a very subjective thing. Like individually, we're gonna have people who are gonna not have a problem with this, and I'm not saying there's a problem with that whatsoever. Like, of course, if like I saw a guy who's disabled on Twitter saying that like with the accessibility options, the original game back then was completely unplayable to him. But with these accessibility options, now he can enjoy the game. Yeah, that's worth $70 to that guy. Absolutely, sure, I'm happy for him.
But you know what? On that point, though, that guy now being playable for being playable for him, he can be happy with that, and he can purchase that, and he can enjoy it. And we have no shade on him. What we're doing is saying he should have had that feature in there from day one. He shouldn't have to pay more for it. He shouldn't have to pay more in order to get that accessibility feature. It should be.
I would say, but was anybody doing that back in 2013?
No, but we know better now, so we're doing better now.
Yeah,
true. But you know better.
I don't want to be like, hey, you should have had that back then when I know nobody was doing that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying in general. That should not be his use case. Should not be what defines the entire.
I'm not saying it is. I'm saying individually for him. Yes. That's why he is. Exactly. He's happy to play the game, and I'm not knocking anybody that feels that way about the game. That's it. When people, I do agree with you guys that when people want to complain about stuff, they want to stay on their square about stuff like the whole man. Shut up, man. Yo, go ahead, man. Be quiet. Like, you shut up. Like, let other people complain about the things they want to complain about. That's fine. Like, we should be definitely speaking to these companies about how we feel about things, and that is going to what I think when people do that, when they want people to shut up, is that they don't want it to. They're actually speaking for the corporation. They don't want what you're saying to affect the corporation's money.
Yep.
So they don't want it to.
Why?
Here's why. Here's why.
Yes.
Because they don't want other people to agree, and they don't want it to affect the dollar value. Because then that's when corporations will actually start to care. That's when
you don't think the reason why they don't want to do that is because they've already that narrative has seeped into their psyche that we must do it this way or else the quality of our games are affected. So everything must be exactly status quo. We must take it out of your butt, like your money, because if we don't, well, maybe PlayStation's games won't be as perfect as they were before. And we can't have that. We want greatness. So whatever they do to get us greatness, that's justifiable.
Which is silly because you're going to get greatness regardless, right? Like you're going to get Insomniac dropping great games. You're going to get Sony Santa Monica.
It's what they do.
It's what they do.
Know?
So like this extra cap and not like trying to stifle any kind of discussion, debate, or conversation is kind of silly. All that said, it's going to play great on PC.
It's going to be amazing on PC.
Yeah, and for me personally, and this is me personally, this is not what anyone else has to do. This is just what Slomo is going to do. I'm not getting it on PS5. What for? I beat this game twice already. Yeah. I beat it twice. I beat it on PS3 and I beat it on PS4. It is, and
I'm always of the mind of,
right? Oh, yeah, exactly. And they ain't going $70 on PC. Come on. And I've always been of the mind like I don't wait for games, but I also don't like jump to go play a game that's being remade or remastered that I already played. And it's the exact same game. So that said, I will get it on PC eventually when it comes out on PC. I think it's probably later this year, maybe early next year it'll come out. And I'll play it at 144 frames per second. I mean, settings.
I'll be doing exactly the same, Slomo.
It'll be different for all of us. Biggie Butters is asking, what are they changing on PC? They don't need to change a darn thing on PC, sir.
They're just
the community will do it for them. It's all good.
Yeah. Hey, look. I've always said this about PC. You could be like Square Enix and charge $70 if you want. Do you want to at least get something for your game, or do you want it to just get pirated? Because those are your options.
We got
options. Charge $70, and then people are going to pirate your game, or you can charge $60 and have a significant number of people actually buy your game.
Biggie Butter is saying charging.
So I mean, it is what it is. Like these are your options here. You can choose to have them or not. Look, even when Square Enix did it with Final Fantasy VII Remake on Epic Game Store, what did Epic Game Store do? The same day they dropped the game
discount. Because they know what their bread is buttered.
Out of nowhere for anyone in the store. Hey, look, here's $10 coupon. We just so happen to choose to send this out right now. I mean, you don't have to use it for anything, but if there's some new game that just came out that you want to get,
if you happen to have conveniently dropped it here,
it's just like, duh. Clearly, Epic is like, we not trying to lose our bag because y'all silly. Yeah, we'll take the $10 knowing we're going to get 60. Come on now.
That's right.
Well, like they say, there's a sucker born every minute on PlayStation. So, hey, they're going to take the first thing you got. There you go. There's a dude. Yeah, I'm a PlayStation guy. I see a lot of dudes capping because they want to be part of the cool guys cable. I love PlayStation 2. I got to get that game too. Hey. Enjoy.
Slow down.
Actually, do me a favor. Actually beat it, though. Don't just load it up on your PlayStation. Why see zeros on your accounts? Actually play it.
All right, Mr. Dutch.
It's way too much.
What is your final take on this? I'm going down the horn. What do you want the people to know about this conversation? What takeaways from all of this? I'm talking to you there, Wandering Dutch. If you're speaking.
Oh, me? I thought you were going to Everborn first.
No, for me, how about you, Dutch? Yes.
Yeah, for me, it is absolutely. It's not a $70 game. That is to me. For anybody who wants to pay $70 for it, more power to you. But it is not a $70 game or £70 game, which obviously in the US is $85. It is not that. That is not the. That is not the
Somebody
price.
Loves of it.
That. It is the as like yourself. We've played the original game. We've played it twice before. There is absolutely no reason, again, that market should pay $70 for the same game with a lovely coat of paint over the top of it. It is essentially what it is. You've got haptics, great. You've got some exploding objects now that you couldn't put in the first one because of physics, great. But are the mechanics of the characters any different? No.
$130 in Australia. $130.
What, man?
That's what I want to. That's what we need to keep talking about. Y'all are charging more. Great. $130.
Let me ask you guys a question, though, about international pricing.
Yeah.
How much of that has to do with tariffs to sell goods in that area? Does any of that matter?
There's some of that.
We've got import taxes and sales taxes, everything that goes along with it. Yeah.
In the marketing, it doesn't originate from the original country, so when they're importing it, that costs more. There's a lot to it.
But does that apply for digital goods, or should it?
Yes.
That's weird.
It shouldn't. Exactly your point, Everborn, because they're able to convince the consumer that, hey, we have to charge you.
No. Well, let's be fair. Let's be fair.
If I wanted the US marketplace on my UK console, it would be $85. It wouldn't be $70.
Well, to I do want to be fair though. Part of the digital pricing is dictated by the retailers who sell it physical because they don't want to be priced out. And I'm sure if Forte is still in the chat, he can probably explain some of that. But like,
but we also know in that digital world, there is a world where one day they can go, oh yeah, remember that Assassin's Creed that was about the only slave ever, the African slave that became an assassin? Yeah, that cool story. That story's now gone, and you can't play it whether you bought it or you didn't. We've decided to pull that back, and you're done. And they can do that in the digital world, right?
Yeah, but I'll take that risk. I'm still only digital. Can't mess with physical.
Yeah, but another thing as well.
Most of y'all don't want to play them games no more anyway.
Exactly.
Just keep it
with regards to the kind of digital market thing as well, even if I wanted to go over and get the US version, which happened to be $70 on PlayStation, I would need an entirely different PlayStation account that was created in America, because you cannot just switch your region like you can on Xbox and just play or download anything and then switch your region back and be able to play it. You can't do that. If you're not from that region, you can't use that at all.
Even if you switch your account, if you create an American account, some people will go, okay, well, I'll do that. Then they'll check your IP and they'll go, yeah, your IP still says you're in Europe. You're not allowed to. Then you'll VPN it and they'll find it's a cat and mouse game. The idea is your money needs to be separated from you in the most beneficial way to them possible. No matter what you do, they will find a way of getting it from you.
Yeah.
So if you're helping them, you are the fool in this scenario.
So bottom line for me is I'm much like Slomo. I am waiting for that price decrease and playing it on PC. Simple as that.
Yeah. Everborn Saga, before we get out of here, please regale us with your final thoughts. I understand you want us to charge them more. My question to you is, where do we want to see ourselves before all of these PR, these Sony PR folks start looking around and going, maybe we should pull our narrative back a little bit because it's hurting our own pocket. How far do you think it'll go before we get there?
Well, I would like to say it is. I think The Last of Us proves that it's happening right now, and we or they are being charged more. And I would just like to see that continue. So, Slomo said that they should have charged $90. I think because Spider-Man 2 is a full game, right? It's and Wolverine, those should be $85 because we have to think about the work that they put in. So I think the prices should keep going up, or I would like to see, like I said, Xbox raise their price when it's warranted, and then we can all realize that, hey, some of these price increases are just to do it, right? And I think that's when we stand together.
You really think Xbox does that and then everybody becomes level-headed? You don't think the goalposts will be moved again?
I think people will see that, oh shit, we're actually charging more for games. But okay, let me clarify.
Somebody will find a way to spin it. Like, but our games are quality, yours are not. They'll have something.
That's definitely going to be one of the narratives.
Well, let me tell you how it's going to happen now. They're going to be happy that the Xbox games are now $70, so they can say, see, we told you, are you going to complain now? And then they can take it as a victory that they've been right the whole time. That's how most of it is going to play out, but I do think we should be able to start seeing these things because, again, we all got together, and not that they did anything about it, but we got together with Diablo Immortal and said, this is crazy. It's play to win or pay to win, right?
Well, but it did do something because it made the developer come out and say, look, Diablo 4 does not have any of that. It made them literally come out and say that because people were upset.
Yeah.
Which is worth something.
It's a lose-lose situation. I said it if they were to say like, hey, look, we're going to have this game be a discount or we're going to cut the price of this because everybody's going to immediately start going at them again going, oh, so you knew that it wasn't worth 70. if they were to do half off or something like that. You know what I mean? And since they're going to charge you full, you already know what's going to happen when people buy these games. You're going to see those videos. They're going to do the comparisons. You already know they're going to happen.
Okay. Here's the question: How long before this goes into PS Plus?
Give it a year, maybe a few months. I don't know.
PS Plus Premium, maybe 9 months.
It'll go there right before. I was about to say right before the PC version, but the PC version seems to be coming out pretty quickly. So, yeah, I'll say probably a year.
Yeah, as soon as the holiday season's over with, you'll start hearing reports.
I give it 6 months. That's my timeline. That I think
understandable.
There. So no, again, if you're making a full game and it's not laden with microtransactions and you charge $70, cool. You made a full game. You might not have to charge that price, but that's what you charge. That's fine. This is them not going from the ground up and making a new game, right? Yeah. With the same old story. They didn't do that. And I don't care how anybody tries to explain it. That's not what they did.
Yep.
Right? And they're charging you as though it is on par with Ragnarok.
Yep.
And Forbidden West. Yep. And Gran Turismo 7.
And to your point there, that is why when people say, oh, you set unrealistic expectations, that's why they're wrong, because you set $70. That comes with certain expectations.
Yep.
Right. So you can't then say, oh, you set unrealistic. No, you set the $70 expectation, which is a full new complete game.
And not to mention, they used the wording that was used in one of the greatest remakes that saved the franchise. Yeah, I know exactly what I'm talking about with Capcom's Resident Evil 2.
Right.
Resident Evil 2 is a love letter to fans. So guess what? PlayStation fans who played this game twice were expecting a love letter, but this game being elevated. Dude's like, oh, well, what could they possibly do with the PS5? Elevate the experience. Push it further. Make it more.
And the PS5 has the hardware for it, for sure.
Exactly. Push the envelope. This is the vision you want. Okay, show that dark vision. Let's see it.
Yep.
No.
Right. Like earn your keep.
Exactly.
This is not a rail. We've had that debate a long time ago. I think this is coming back because this is not a rail against $70 games.
Yep.
No.
Right. This is a rail against doing the bare minimum and saying you're going to charge full price. And the people that just have this like native reaction to push back because you're questioning something that their favorite.
You're questioning greatness.
Questioning
greatness, you know?
So
that's the problem.
Greatness, right? I don't want it.
You happy with $70 games? Fine. I'm not telling you what to buy.
That's right.
We are promoting that you can do the bare minimum.
Yep.
And they will do this again. This is why I say next year, they're going to sell you Ghost of Tsushima and tell you that it's $70 again. Bro, why not?
Look at last generation. Remember,
there's no new story to this, Big Cloud.
Nope.
Think about this. It's not like they said, here's a new 2-hour chapter of something that happened in between and you didn't see it before. They didn't do any of that.
Yeah. Now, what I was about to say, Everborn, what I was about to say. Y'all remember last generation, a certain iconic franchise came back in 2016. It was revealed. It was a big reveal for PlayStation. It was Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, I remember we got the Insane trilogy.
Yeah.
Now, did we pay full price?
Upgrades.
Did we pay full price for them upgrades? No, it was $40.
Nope. And they were beautiful, way better.
And you got 3 games, not 1, not 2, but 3 games plus additional content that was originally scripted from the original dev team where they didn't want to put that level into the game. So you got the bare minimum times, but you got more. But you got more of a value.
It's the same with Crash Team Racing and then Spyro Trilogy.
There you go.
Yep.
So
I'm actually playing that Spyro Trilogy on Steam Deck right now. It's beautiful. The Spyro Trilogy, amazing looking, right? And you're not paying the same price as you did for each individual game. This is new.
Yeah, what was it? Mass Effect.
Go ahead, Sonic Sucks.
They
give us your final pick.
Improve the slightly improve the combat for the first game, and then just remastered the 2 and 3. It was all that together combined with all the DLC, the amazing DLC, some of the best expansions ever put into a video game. Was $60.
Look at the new Tony Hawk that came out. Same thing there. Amazing remake. Amazing. Did you end up paying? Did you end up paying the original price? No, they bundled it together and they made it cheaper than the first one alone. And it was amazing. Like, so well done. They kept the feel of the graphics the same, but the graphic output was completely blown out. Amazing. This is
animations. New. This right here is the same animations, just a new.
This is new. This is a new case they're trying to slip by people. We should not be easy to be like, "Yep, it's all good," right?
Yep.
All right, Sonic sucks. Please give us your final take.
I did.
No, he did, but no.
You did. Okay.
But if you wanted to give another take, I can.
No. I expect far more slander. I expect far more slander when you open your mouth. So you were even keeled. I thought you weren't done. I'm sorry.
No. I'm normally even keeled. It's just when Everborn's around, it's just like,
oh, come on now.
Basically, what the message dudes are trying to put on us and try to shame us for, right? They're trying to say, well, it looks better, so don't hate on it. It looks good. Yeah. Like it looks better. I'm like, okay.
But we've all said it though. We've all said it copious amounts now. The reason we're holding it to account for the price is because other developers from other areas have remade games from the ground up, either bundled an entire collection that have been remastered or remade, or games that have been remade, or like Resident Evil 2 and 3 completely remade, new game and mechanics, new areas, new sections that you hadn't been to, reworked the map a little bit so it wasn't the same as the first time you played it. And they've redone it, and those are the levels that you aspire to, and they were cheaper than this. Yep. And when they're bringing it out and saying, no, it's $70, you're like, but for what? In comparison to others who are doing the same thing and providing more and new content, you have removed content in the form of factions, give it a fresh look, added a few more physics to particles and whatnot to it, and it's $70. So justify it.
So when we on this panel, a bunch of gamers from all walks of life who don't like agreeing, we don't like agreeing. I think we can all agree to that. We don't like agreeing.
I mean, no,
we agree on this point.
We agree on when something is malicious and clearly not against, like, it goes against all morals of the situation, and it just really insults the fan base if you really think about it, because you're really just saying, hey, look, we know you're gonna buy it, so here's this right here. But guess what? I'm not gonna do a favor for you. I'm not gonna increase
Sonic fans too.
I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't gonna. I didn't want to say it here, but that new Sonic game do look rough too. But hey,
man, how about like it look rough world ever? Like as soon as I got depressed, I'm just like,
we will return for the righteous smoke once that game is released.
Listen, you want to see?
I'm getting Sonic the Hedgehog vibes from the PS3 and 360. You remember that one, Slomo, where it was like the pedestrians in the world and it was like open with the silver guy?
You want to see corporate apology? Wait till you see Everborn when Sonic Frontiers comes out.
And you know what? On that show, I will once again expect my man BitCloud Gaming, my man, and I'm not saying it, Slomo Backslap, and everyone will be back here again, standing against you, Everborn Saga, and your corporate apologies.
You can say it. You can say it. Okay? You say the name. Say the name that's on the screen.
I appreciate all y'all
for being for the smoke when the game drops.
Everborn will be like, that honeymoon phase is gonna be over after 24 hours.
Oh, boy.
After he does that super move for like the bajillionth time.
It's gonna be at 24 frames per second, man. He's gonna be a lot quicker than that.
So clearly, we are now in the bash of Sonic part of the show. So we're gonna stop the show now. We're done. We're done. I think we've made our point very, very abundantly clear. But let me systematically go through down the line, including our wonderful guest who was so wonderful and so great to grace us with his presence, Mr. Wandering Dutch. We appreciate you being here. Even when we're at our slanderous best, you try to elevate the conversation. We appreciate you, good sir. Tell the people where they can find you this week. The Midweek Mix-Up crew is always out there doing great work. Let us know how we can keep up with all your goings on the internet, sir.
Yeah, certainly. A pleasure to be here as always. It's been absolutely awesome. Of course, Midweek Mix-Up has now been celebrated its second birthday on Wednesday just gone.
Awesome. Great show, by the way. I was listening in. Very, very fun show. Great crew. Well, always good.
Yeah, it was an awesome one. And for those of you that are interested in Hypercharge Unlocked, which is coming out on Xbox next year, already out on Steam and Switch. We interviewed the developer for Hypercharge Unlocked. Awesome interview, really cool, down-to-earth guy. It goes in depth with the kind of vision for the game and what they're aiming for and what they're looking to bring in, feature content. Essentially, the reason they've pushed it back to being launched next year for Xbox is because they want to get all of the free DLC out on PC first, and then when the game launches on Xbox, it's all included. So you get the entire thing, not just the thing that's available now on PC. So it's awesome guy, really great. Of course, we had Gaz and King David on there as well. So really great show, but you can find us every Wednesday for that. This evening, speaking of Gaz, I'm going to be on Game On Daily, awesome. Which is going to be good fun. Obviously, a lot of sauce and slander on there as well. So that's going to be good. Back again tomorrow for the weekend edition of Midweek Mix-Up. But as always, a pleasure for everybody joining us today. Awesome chat as always. Great civil discussions in the chat. Even though some disagree, we still
kept it above board. That's good. That's good. Always appreciate awesome. That. Yeah,
but as always, awesome guests to my brother BitCloud, as usual. Another, as we put part-time panel member now due to his workload on the Midweek Mix-Up, and of course Slomo. I'm not sure. I think I've potentially podcasted with yourself a couple of times, Slomo, but I don't think it's that often.
Yeah, it hasn't been that often, but we definitely been on a couple of panels.
Probably in the same circles, man. Y'all travel in the same circles, indeed.
Exactly. But Everborn, as always, slanderous, but relatively withdrawn this week. But I love you all the same. And but thank you again, and of course,
indeed. And our special guests, man, they jumped in at the last minute because their voices needed to be heard, and we appreciate them for it. First off, BitCloud Gaming, taking the gaming streets by storm. Every time you see him, he's got something big going on. We appreciate you being here. You're pushing the gaming, the whole ecosystem forward with all the really cool things you're doing, all the interviews you're doing, always hitting new strides. I see you on the ILP, getting in there, a lot of writing. It's been great to see your growth in this space. Tell the fine people all the places they can find you and what you've been getting into, and give them some of that real PlayStation knowledge.
Oh, you already know it's BitCloud Game. First of all, thank you. Appreciate it. It was great to be back here. Dutch, you already know. Always a pleasure. Everborn. Slomo, I hardly get to talk to Slomo as much because Slomo, he turned Hollywood on me, but you know how I mean. Now playing.
I can't wait to turn Hollywood on you guys.
I know you're gonna disappear.
I told people that when I was in like junior high school. I said, "Listen, I'm going to get rich and switch." I'm telling you.
At least he's honest.
There you go. He kept it 100. But
that's right.
You guys can find me at BitCloud Gaming, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. You can also find me at ILP, lordsgaming.net. That's where I'm a writer as well. I do occasionally now, depends on the project and when they call me back, but I do freelance with IGN. Shout out to IGN, the crew over there. And you also can check me over there as well. I'm also one of the IGN curators for playlists. So if you guys want to see that, you guys can create your own playlists on IGN.com, showcase to the world, and IGN will actually show it off. They like the list. They've actually featured mine twice. So nice. Really, really cool. And they have us featured there. So if you guys want to start creating playlists, share your memories with the, everybody on Twitter, they can, you can do that on IGN.com. So get over there if you want to do that. But yeah, you guys will find me. It was a pleasure.
Shout out to BitCloud Gaming. Shout out to IGN for giving BitCloud and other community members a shot. This is great stuff. Credit where it's due.
Thank you.
Appreciate you as usual, and we'll hope to have you back again. Hopefully not as slanderous next time, but we all enjoy it. We enjoy that smoke around here.
Yeah, hit me up whenever. You also catch me, of course, with like Dutch said, Midweek Mix-Up podcast and the Attic Show as well.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, Slomo Sonic Sucks Backslap. Appreciate you for jumping in. You're always here, whether you're in the chat or in the show. We appreciate you for making the show so much better every time you show up. Tell the people where they can find you. I saw your man Forte in the chat. We appreciate him as well. Tell the fine folks about the DPS podcast and everywhere else they can find you.
Well, sure. I'm not doing all the high profile stuff that Big Cloud's over here doing, Mr. Hollywood himself. But DPS is always fire. Come check us out, Damage Per Second Podcast, me and Gaming Forte. Last show was last Thursday on Forte's channel, where he misspelled all the topics, where he mispronounced literally everything in everyone's name. And just typical Forte, but that's the homie. We love him. We love him for it, right? Next week's gonna be on my channel. Well, none of that stuff will happen. And then this Thursday, this Thursday. This Saturday, come check us out on Scumcast on the Ash and Lucas channel. We're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be good fun. We're probably gonna chew each other out, and it's just usually a great time with her. So yeah, come through. I enjoyed the time hanging out with you guys as usual. Everyone knows it's all love, even though I can't help but to pick at his favorite game.
You gotta have a new logo made when y'all come back and do that Sonic joint. Like, instead of the dude getting slapped, it's Sonic.
Yeah.
Instead of spit, show rings.
Oh man!
See, the thing is, Slomo's actually gonna do this.
He's gonna do it. I'm there for it. I'm there for it. Yes.
I'm getting this commission immediately.
That's amazing. Oh man, this is amazing. I can't wait to see that, bro.
That's serious.
All right.
Oh my god,
Mr. Everborn Saga. I will say, when I clown you, I always do it when you're around so you can defend yourself. Unlike Slomo, you see what I'm saying?
Unlike Rand.
Unlike Rand, yes, Rand, they took you to task on that show for some time.
But guess what? I am going to be right, and everything I said is going to come true. So we shall see. They joked. It's like, oh, Jez said this. As soon as the Activision deal closes, we're going to get dates for Starfield and Redfall. I bet you that's what happens.
And when that happens, you're going to walk around like a pimp, smacking people.
You mother effers are not going to want to know me if that's what happens. But anyway, listen. Everborn Saga everywhere. That is on Steam. That is on Xbox. That is on PlayStation. That is on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. But most importantly, everbornsaga.com, where you can get these books that we produce. I know we have not launched a book in a little while, but we are actually working on 3 projects at once. That's Ariel's Adventure Chapter 2. That is The Remnant, which we actually have 1 chapter done, but we made the difficult decision to bundle it with Chapter 2 because it would give you a stronger punch. And we have the novel coming out for The Remnant. So you are going to get a graphic novel and a comic and a proper novel by the end of this year, all coming. But if you want to get
all
caught
the
up
while,
on
you're also working on the game in the background. This man, how many hours in your day?
Background, that not enough.
I tell you what, man. Everborn got some awful takes, but he got a great comic. It's
thank you, sir.
There you go. Backhanded compliments everywhere. This is amazing.
Oh no,
these are the best ones.
I'll take what I can get. I'll take what I can get. No, but everbornsaga.com. If you want to see those comics, Slomo's not lying. That's where you go. And like I said, I usually don't like people, so I do accept every friend request that I get. But I'm not much of an online gamer, so come,
we'll work on him. We got to get more community game nights going and whatnot. We need to pivot to that area of gaming a bit more. As the games, the multiplayer games, the fun ones kind of come out. Maybe we'll work on Mr. Everborn. Get him
by the way,
hey, look,
shoot that guy.
I agree with that 5,000%. We try to put together an Among Us night real soon.
There you go. Yeah, let's do it. I've
never played that. I'll try it.
Yeah, I'll be up for
There you go. That's what's up. There you go. Awesome. Awesome.
I can just blame Slomo all day. Well, he's the killer.
Yeah.
Hey, but I just want to leave everybody with one thing. As Dusk Falls, shoot that guy.
Yeah, when you get to that guy, shoot him. Please shoot him, because if you don't, you'll regret it.
Oh,
but for the Wandering Dutch, my co-host, Mr. Everborn Saga, Bit Cloud Gaming, and Sonic Sucks, I have to say we thank you so much for being here this week. This has turned into one of those episodes, as it tends to around here, and we appreciate y'all for being a part of it. We will see y'all next week. Man, I gotta go relax and sit down. Y'all just got me like tweaking today. This is gonna be amazing. Till next week, guys. Have a good one.